We're very interested at Southern Virginia University in developing the whole person.
I think we're building a tradition of character and a tradition of excellence, and we're doing it one athlete at a time.
Southern Virginia University is a place where you can be passionate about your education, committed to excellence as an athlete, and never compromise your faith.
Southern Virginia has challenged and engaged us, but now we have to continue on our own. We must use our talents.
Fellow graduates, our education at Southern Virginia has been replete with wow moments.
You are not ordinary. You have a great work to do in one of the most extraordinary times in the history of our civilization.
We've learned that the art of reaching graduation is sometimes quite simply the art of applying the seat of the pants to the seat of the chair.
You should be very proud that you are about to graduate from Southern Virginia University, an experiment in excellence, in values-based education, indeed, an institution of higher learning. And I mean that in the sense that you have been tutored in all that is uplifting, moral, and ennobling to the human character.
We have been given the knowledge, the tools, and all the secrets to become successful and achieve any and every goal that we put our mind to. When Dr. Martin Luther King spoke about having a dream, he was only envisioning what Southern Virginia University is and what it always will be. A place where a person of any race, nation, color, or creed can look back and call home.
What has wowed me about my Southern Virginia education has been the small moments in which my professors have taught me something that many in the world do not know, that scholarship without discipleship is empty.
Every experience that you have is there to teach you and to move you into being more of who you really are.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
I got up before 6 o'clock after staying up till almost 1 o'clock. That got on a bus, came up here to the temple.
I think that it's really great for the school to have a day off. It shows the students that the temple and service are a priority.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, my day was fantastic.
Yeah, we spent it in here doing the lights, which was actually a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be.
We were able to go in and do baptisms today.
Today I did an endowment session.
I've never been in the Washington, D.C. temple to do baptisms.
I was talking to one of my friends at a different school, and she was like, man, that's so awesome that you guys get to skip class to go to the temple.
Being a leader servant a lot of times isn't being out in the front, it's doing the quiet little things like doing these lights.
It helps me balance and figure out kind of a priority, a sense of priority in everything I'm doing.
Serving is so simple and selfless, and it's just so important to apply in your life, and it's nice to know that the school feels the same way.
It's not a day about me, I guess. It's a day about doing work for somebody else.
Just the fact that we're following Christ, and He is the ultimate leader servant.
You don't think of time when you're in the temple, as 3 hours went by so fast. I walked out and I felt like it was only 5 minutes I was in there.
I think going to the temple makes you a better leader servant because, you know, for me it was a great sacrifice to come today, and I think sacrifice is part of service, part of being a leader.
I don't know of any other schools that have a temple day in the middle of the semester. I think it's a Southern Virginia tradition.
Everybody goes to law school thinking that there are these big thick books that have the law in them. Actually, what you learn in law school is not a bunch of very, very specific legal rules. What you learn in law school is a way of thinking and making arguments.
I think most people who go to law school, when they initially apply, your assumption is you're going to be a lawyer. But the training of law could be enormously helpful and valuable in another career. Law school is all about taking disparate facts and things that are sometimes very foreign to you and being able to get your mind around them quickly to develop an argument and then be able to make a compelling argument.
You need to be really comfortable reading and analyzing difficult texts. So any kind of undergraduate education that involves reading, understanding, and analyzing a difficult book is going to be useful in law schools.
Lawyers, by their very nature, are researchers. They have to research what the law is so that they can argue a particular point.
One of the most important things is to be able to be a critical thinker.
You should be able to identify the premises in an argument, understand how it is that they support a conclusion, be able to pick them apart.
And the other thing you need to know how to do is write.
Particularly the ability to write persuasive or argumentative kind of writing.
I think those are two things that Southern Virginia University stresses.
Law school professors are famous for using what's called the Socratic method. They'll pick on an unexpected student and engage in a continual round of questions. Here I came from this little school in the backwoods of Virginia. How on earth was I going to compete with these brilliant students with outstanding, prestigious educations? And I quickly learned that my education in Southern Virginia, where I received really one-on-one mentorship and teaching, more than prepared me to compete against some of the brightest students.
Being at Southern Virginia, where I had professors who would challenge me with large amounts of reading and large amounts of material, and to be able to articulate those positions back to the professor the next day was it's been extremely helpful in my career as a lawyer.
There's a wide variety of students that are applying to law school from Southern Virginia and getting into law school.
We end up needing to talk about who's a professor who knows you well enough to write a really good recommendation. And I make it clear to students, you need to ask a professor, would you feel comfortable writing a positive recommendation for me? Every student that wants to get advice from a faculty advisor has their own faculty advisor.
We want to identify those students who are interested in law school, and we want to give them the best advising possible.
The ancient Roman poet Horace coined the phrase dulce et utile, which translates as sweet and useful, to describe what great literature, great art, and I would say a great education should be.
Southern Virginia is well situated to promote your intellectual growth, your social growth, and your ability to manage your time.
Professors actually know the names of all their students, and you sit in small classrooms, not big auditoriums. It is an intimate education. It's small.
If you apply to a couple schools that you're particularly strong for their student body, a couple schools that you're right on what they're thinking of in terms of GPA and LSAT, and a couple that may be a stretch, but you think they're a good fit for particular reasons and you can articulate that, you will get admitted to law school. You'll get admitted to more than one law school. And then we can talk about, well, which one of these truly is going to be the better fit for you.
When you leave, you can name all your professors and the classes they had, and they can name you. And you know all your colleagues. And you've never been in a learning situation where there's 900 people in an auditorium, and there's a lecturer up front that you've never met and who doesn't have a clue who you are. You'll never have that learning experience at Southern Virginia.
We need basic health care, and so many people obviously aren't getting it. And so I love being involved in a program where we help people have access to that.
I had no idea that there were so many people with such intense, such large problems.
People look forward to RAM. Why? Because they've been suffering with toothaches or whatever else it is, and now they have some hope to get some things taken care of.
About 80% of all of the patients who come to our events in the United States are here to get their teeth fixed, or because they need a pair of glasses. Very few of the people that come to these events are here actually to see a medical doctor, but the truth of the matter is they all need to see a medical doctor because they've got all kinds of other ailments.
It's not based on where you live, how much money you make, what job you have or don't have. There is absolutely nothing you have to prove or convince anyone of before you can get care.
When I formed the organization many, many years ago, it was for the purpose of taking airborne medical teams to that part of South America, the upper Amazon. I was amazed to find that there were so many people here in America that were like those people that I grew up with in the Amazon that didn't have access to health care or couldn't afford it.
So many people, they may not be able to see, but to them that's normal. And there's no way they would be able to get that pair of glasses without RAM.
I'm disabled now. I've only been disabled for 3 months, and without a job or anything. Yeah, I needed glasses, so I couldn't get them anywhere else.
There's so many people that come to RAM because they simply can't afford health care.
If uninsured people come to my emergency room, if they can't be seen for whatever reason, there's 10 other emergency rooms they can drive to. There's all sorts of resources. Out here, if the RAM clinic didn't show up, these people wouldn't have any other choices.
Literally scratching from day to day, and would have to take of their substance to pay for this dental care if they went to, just went, you gotta take care of it at a private clinic.
We had a 9-year-old kid that came in and he wanted glasses. He walks out to the door of the clinic and he puts his glasses on and he looks at the things on the tree and he asks his mother, what are those things that are on that tree? That's more than any dollars anybody could ever pay for it.
I know that if I take these steps right now in my life to help people when I can and in whatever ways that I can, that will be something I can more easily continue once I leave SVU.
If people know that you are not afraid to go that extra mile to work, and they have seen you go that extra mile, they are much more inclined to do it themselves.
Service should be a way of life, should just be something we do as citizens.
We're very interested at Southern Virginia University in developing the whole person.
I think we're building a tradition of character and a tradition of excellence, and we're doing it one athlete at a time.
Southern Virginia University is a place where you can be passionate about your education, committed to excellence as an athlete, and never compromise your faith.
Welcome everyone to today's broadcast, Southern Virginia University football. I'm Art Furler here with Jim Bresnahan. Jim, it has been a very long road coming to this point for the Knights. This is their first game here in their home stadium, homecoming, parents' weekend. A lot of things coming together for a very, very big day for the Knights.
And they'll be hosting a Montclair State, first ever game at the fields at Southern Virginia University. First ever football game, we should add, Art, because there has been activity up here, obviously. But I know for the players, the coaches, the staff, the entire school administrators, and the student body, and, of course, it's homecoming, too. So the alumni and the faculty, everybody's excited to be playing their first game on this fantastic football field.
Yeah, and that's kind of the frustrating thing that it's been for the Knights in the past is they've been practicing on it for a long time.
Right.
They've been familiar with it. Soccer's played here. Lacrosse is played here. There have been, as you said, a lot of activity, but it's been a frustrating thing, I'm sure, for the Knights football team to not be able to play on this field. What a huge thing it is for them today to be able to come out and christen this field with hopefully a good contest for them.
And a little dreary, a little overcast, and we've had some rain. But then again, you think a year ago or, in past years, if they had played at Perry McClure High School under these conditions, especially in October after 4 or 5 games on the high school football field from the high school football team and from the Knights, we could be looking at a mud bath.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look all around the sides of the field, having slogged through it for a few hours getting ready this morning, I can tell you it is muddy everywhere except on this beautiful turf field. Should be great conditions for the Knights to play in. With everything going in their favor at this point, so hopefully, as we said, a good contest.
Well, I know we talked about this a few weeks ago at Salem Stadium. Again, it's the first game on the fields at SVU for the first football game. It is homecoming. But then again, it's also the first home game for the Knights in the New Jersey Athletic Conference.
True. All season long, we did have that game at Salem Stadium, the kind of neutral contest game period, but it is the first home game. As you mentioned, several more coming up here in pretty quick succession, but definitely a big deal for the Knights to play a tough road contest as they have, and then to be able to come back home at homecoming and start to make a stand here.
Now, to set the stage, Montclair comes in. They are 3-1. They've won 3 in a row. The Knights are 0-4. They had a really tough loss, of course, last Saturday on the road at Kane. 28-27, first overtime loss. In one period, and basically a loss because of a missed extra point.
Yeah, they led the game early on, and then momentum swung back the other way. It looked like they were in trouble, but came back and tied it with 4 seconds left in the game, and able to take it to overtime. But as you mentioned, just that one slight miscue. That's the difficult thing, particularly when you go to that trading possession situation. You score the touchdown, and you're like, okay, good. Now we go back on defense. Except for that extra point,
right.
that little period at the end, not dotting that I, cost the Knights get that game.
And in talking with Coach Jason Walker this week, he said, I asked him, did you think about going for 2 instead of kicking the extra point in overtime? He said, no, it was the touchdown at the end of regulation where we thought we might go for 2. They obviously chose against it. who knows? If you go for 2, you might lose in regulation. You might win in regulation. But as he mentioned, it was just one blown blocking assignment on the extra point. Otherwise, we would have had a second overtime.
Yeah, and once you get to that second overtime, of course, you never know. Maybe the Knights lose after 2, lose after 3. Maybe they win after 2. So it's certainly a difficult decision, especially now to have all the time in the world to look back and say, should we have gone for 2 then, or should we have, should I this, that, or the other to come up with that one. But it hurts to come in against a Kane team who that was their first win of the season as well, to have that situation.
You brought up a good point, though. The Knights actually fell behind in regulation by a touchdown with like 1:23 to go, and they had a long drive in less than a minute, just a little over a minute actually, to get that game to overtime, to tie that football game. A tremendous drive. Of course, Mitch Stevenson, one of the key folks there.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. The Knights have been competitive all year long. They've had some really impressive games. They did have one particularly rough one, but particularly the one we did down in Salem Stadium as well.
Most impressive.
Yeah, they were against a quality opponent.
Yep.
They had a lot of things going against them. They had a lot of times where momentum shifted in the other direction, but they took the shots and came back and really put up a great game.
And when you figure that the Knights came with 8 points of Guilford, and then Guilford, last week just blew out Washington and Lee, and of course earlier blew out Methodist. Yeah. I think the Knights are doing a pretty good job. Now, of course, they ran into a buzzsaw 2 weeks ago against Wesley, but Wesley arguably is a top 5 team in Division III and could well win the Division III championship this year. And the Knights, obviously got pounded early in that ball game. They trailed, I think, 47-0 at halftime or something like that. So the Knights, outside of that Wesley game, they've been competitive. Of course, the first half of the Methodist game wasn't too good, but then they rebounded in that game and had a strong second half.
And actually, the Methodist game was really impressive to me because as a young team, to take that shot and come back and still be competitive and not lose their composure, I thought was more impressive than had they been close throughout the entire game. And you're right, Wesley's going to be a buzzsaw for a lot of folks this year. So I don't particularly count that against the Knights either. They've had some close ones. I think what they need to learn at this point is when those games are close, they've got to learn to finish. They've got to do what they have to do to get across that last little leg and pull off the win.
Now, Art, today Montclair again comes in 3-1. They've won 3 straight ball games. They're one of the teams right now in the New Jersey Athletic Conference that are shaping up as top-tier teams, maybe with perhaps a Morrisville and a Rowan. And the Knights obviously would love to get this the victory today. The first ever game here at the Fields at Southern Virginia University and the first ever home game in the conference, but they would love to beat a quality opponent like Montclair.
Oh, absolutely. Any kind of momentum shift that they can get at this point would be huge, and particularly that they're all the pieces in place. As you mentioned, so much momentum already with the crowd behind them at their home stadium. A lot of emotion. I think the important thing for the Knights early on in this game is to see whether or not they can hone that emotion, whether or not they can take it and use it in their favor rather than having emotion get the best of them.
And Jason Walker had told us this week that there are a lot of keys to this football game. Montclair likes to run the football, so it's going to be on the Knights defense to shut down the running game for Montclair. And Montclair will present you a lot of different looks on defense. So Mitch Stevenson, as we mentioned just a few minutes ago, had a great game against Kane last week. He's going to have another good one today at the quarterback position.
Yeah, I think the Knights are definitely up to the task as far as defense for the running game. They've shown that several times this year. They've been impressive and have shown the ability to do that. But as you mentioned, it's going to be whether or not the offense can get rolling and get some points on the board. We'll see what we can do with that, and that will determine the pace in this game early.
And, of course, as you mentioned just a few seconds ago, we got a lot of festivities. We've got the national anthem coming up here in just a few minutes. We've got the homecoming festivities, a lot of distractions for the Knights to kind of put behind them now and really focus on the game at hand.
Well, and that's exactly to my point. They can either use the emotion and channel it and do well with it, or it could go the exact other way. The emotions could become a distraction, could outlast them, and end up causing more problems than they help. So it'll be very important to see how that starts. And speaking of emotion, someone who brings up a lot of emotion on this campus, as you see the teams lining up for the coin toss, the man on the far left there by the side judge is former university president Rod Smith. He is a very, very beloved man on this campus. He's done so much for us as a university. He came in and gave the homecoming forum address yesterday, and it's great to see him out here. Well deserved that he's here for the first game at this stadium.
Well, I do readily recall interviewing Rod Smith at the Washington League game in 2008, and he looked forward to this field, to this fantastic field they're playing on today.
Yeah, there were so many keys that have fallen into place for this. It hasn't been that long ago since its field itself wasn't here, much
Right.
less the softball field, the practice field, all the other facilities, the lights that got added last year, the power that came to the lights, even after the lights were here. There's so many details, and it's wonderful for President Wilcox to be here for this moment as he's moving forward. President Smith, appropriate to be here since he did so much leading up to it. And of course, President Sobrowski here in spirit, I'm sure. Unfortunately, he's not able to be here with us after his passing, but certainly every president going back a ways, and of course Richard Whitehead, the interim president's here today as well. Each of them had a role in getting this team, this stadium, everything to where it is today.
And again, the fields at SVU, could you actually say it's in its infancy because it's only going to get bigger and better?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a long way to go still, and it's come a long way. There's been a lot of gain. We've come a long way with what we've been able to do, but there is still quite a bit left. There's a stadium to wrap around this field. There's a lot of details left to go into place, and it's exciting to see how far we've come and excited to see where we're still going.
It looks like the Knights may get the ball first. Montclair looks like they won the opening coin toss and deferred until the second half, so I would imagine the Knights are going to get the football first.
Well, and I wonder if that isn't Montclair State knowing the Knights are going to be tough defensively and wanting to first put their defensive foot down and get the advantage from there.
Well, tremendous crowd obviously here too, Art.
We'll see how it develops. The concern was for the rain a while there, and we'll see which affects that team more. But yeah, certainly opportunities coming in for the Knights. Hopefully the rain doesn't deter the crowd too much, and if weather's holding at the moment, if it continues to do so, then we can hopefully see a good crowd.
And it's the first of 4 home games. I know obviously the game at Salem Stadium back on September the 20th was technically a home game, but this is really the first of 4 true home games for the Knights. The next one comes up in 2 weeks on October the 25th.
Well, and again, you mentioned the word true home game as we talked about going away to Salem Stadium, but again, the first true home game really ever since the Knights have been playing at Perry McClure before this.
The first on the campus.
Absolutely. And I believe we're going to cut away here just a minute for the prayer and the national anthem. And so we'll go away to that and be back here in just a couple minutes with the kickoff. We're back now. We'll have the national anthem here in just a minute. Opening prayer given by the First Lady of SVU, Diane Wilcox. She's a lot of fun. I've gotten to spend a little bit of time chatting with her. She's great. We'll get her and her husband here for an interview at the half, I believe, so hope to get to know them a little bit better as well. Once again, we're going to break away here for the national anthem. We actually have a Boy Scout color guard here for that, and we'll cut away to them and then get back here in just a moment.
By the dawn's early light.
I'm not sure how well that song translated over the air there, but I guarantee you it didn't do it justice. What a wonderful, wonderful rendition of our national anthem. Great to have that here. And again, a shout out to our choir and theater programs. Such talent. It's so wonderful to have a university with such a wide variety of talents, especially when we can feature some of the arts here at our athletics as well.
Excited campus to be playing the first football game here at the Fields at Southern Virginia University. And as we mentioned, they've had athletic events up here for a few weeks now, Art.
Yeah, they have. We've broadcast from this exact location some of our soccer games recently. It really is a great facility, and you know, I noticed during the national anthem, glanced over, and you're right, the crowd has really filled up, even just in the last half hour. Great to see such a huge turnout to come and support these Knights.
And the Knights are getting ready to return the opening kickoff. Again, Montclair won the opening coin toss. They deferred the second half, so they'll be kicking off to the Knights.
Well, special teams has been something that's been up and down for the Knights this year. It's been really strong in a couple of performances, and they've also had some miscues. So, again, a great opportunity for the Knights to set the tempo early, set the pace, and see what they can do as we have the opening kickoff of the first ever home game and the Knights to receive.
And we are ready to go here from the Fields at Southern Virginia University with Montclair's opening kickoff coming down to Kyler Harris. And he'll bring it back across the 10, up to the 20. Good return for Kyler, far side, and he's just shy of the 30-yard line.
Yeah, so that's a great start for the Knights, great field position. I expect to see a lot of firepower early from the Knights, but not the way you would expect. Typically, they've gone a lot to the air this year. I expect them to start on the ground, just get some first downs, get some confidence, and hopefully, as we mentioned, rein in a little bit of that emotion. Just seeing the first downs come, seeing the sticks move will be very important for them.
Art, as we talked about, it's going to be a lot of responsibility today on Mitch Stevenson, but also on the offensive line and Jerry Washington trying to establish that running game.
Yeah, well, as we've said before, the run opens up the pass opens up the run, and they will start on a pass.
And Mitch looks to the right. He wants to throw. He's going to maybe throw that one away downfield. He tipped it in incomplete. Oh, I'll tell you, they almost had the receiver out there Goring, but the defender made a nice play on the ball. It almost looked like Mitch was going to try to throw it away, but he tried to hit Mike Goring and almost had him. But a great play by the Red Hawks defense.
Yeah, great timed jump that time by the cornerback. He was right in the right place at the right time, looked back, made sure he knew when to time his jump, and as a result stopped, as you said, what could have been a very, very big play to open up this game.
And so the Knights come out throwing, and now on 2nd and 10. Let's see if they go to that ground game from around the 28-yard line. No, a quick pass, and they hit the receiver Harris, Kyler Harris, a short gain, about 5, maybe 6 yards. Good solid pickup there. Kyler Harris came in, leading receiver, 18 receptions now on the year.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that the Knights open up with 2 passes back-to-back. Certainly not what I was expecting, but as you said, if not for that defender, they would have had a huge one, and a good gain of that one. Gain of about 6 will bring up 3rd and looks like 3rd and 4.
Yep, 3rd and 4 coming up. The ball's at the 34. They're going to have to get to around the 38 to get a first down. So let's see what happens here. Again, Jerry Washington's in the backfield. Mitch Stevenson has a wide array of receivers to pick from.
Play clock winding down. He's got to get it off.
And he just got that play off.
And another pass.
Stevenson throws over the middle. It is intercepted. Picked off. Not sure where that ball was going, but it is intercepted by the Red Hawks, and they return the football to around the 35-yard line.
Yeah, that was directly to the Red Hawks defender. I'm not sure, as you said.
Eric Gargulo, the free safety.
Yeah, that's his second big play already today. The first one, he had the defense on this side, and that one, that was postmarked right to him.
Too bad, too, Art, because they had a nice drive going. It was early on. They were looking for their first down of the football game. Instead, a big interception, and now the Red Hawks have a fantastic shot here after the turnover.
Yeah, it changes momentum very quickly in a bad direction for great field position starting out on the 32.
And the Red Hawks, they like to go with the ground game, and they'll go with the ground game on the first play from scrimmage, getting it inside the 30 down to around the 29 of the Knights.
Well, the Knights are going to have to get very defensive very quickly. It's tough to get that emotional high again of coming in and especially when you receive and feel like you got that first chance to score but then immediately have to come back on defense. That's very, very difficult. 5 yards gain on that, so it looks like it'll bring up about 2nd and 5.
Denzel Nieves on the carry. He's their top running back. Davies, the quarterback, Ryan Davies, is in the shotgun. on a second down play, and he wants to throw short to the right side. It's off the hands of the receiver and out of bounds and incomplete. Now it's a big third down play. 3rd and 5 coming up for the Redhawks of Montclair.
Yeah, well defended that time as well. The Knights exactly where they needed to be in case he did catch it to attempt to break it up, but great job getting in the way where they needed to be for that.
So it's 3rd down, 5 to go. This obviously, Art, could be 2-down territory, 4-down territory overall for the Redhawks.
Could be. I saw their place kicker out in pregame doing pretty darn well. He's got a lot of range to him by the looks of it, so we'll see whether or not it is 4-down territory perhaps.
It is going to be Nieves, and he's got the first down and more. He's down to the inside the 15-yard line, down to the 13. Denzel Nieves, good run straight up the gut.
Yeah, sharp cuts for him, able to get through the line. It looked like he got contacted either at the backfield or at the line of scrimmage, but was able to sneak away from it and get farther up to where he needed to be.
So now the ball is down, looks like around the 14-yard line. And we'll see what the Redhawks do here from the 14-yard line of Southern Virginia, trying to score first in this football game. Quarterback Davies hands off to Nieves. He tries the right side, hemmed in. There's a flag down. Nieves finally wrestled down at the 5-yard line. Robbie Robbins among those who made the stop, but this may be holding. We'll see if it comes back on the Redhawks on that running play.
Yeah, it was in the area of holding. That's where you see flags go for holding a lot, and I'm surprised we made it as far as we have without a flag. Both the Knights games we've seen this year have been riddled with flags on both sides of the ball, and we made it about 3 minutes.
Yeah, Art, that Guilford game on September the 20th at Salem Stadium seemingly had a penalty every third or second play. That one is going to be a hold on the Redhawks, so it's a big penalty against Montclair.
Yeah, it'll bring up it's a big loss for them in yardage-wise, and also because of the result of the play would have been a big gain for them, so it hurts them in that case 2 ways.
See where they mark the ball back to after the penalty is assessed. Wipes out a good run by Nieves, who got it down to around the 5-yard line. Penalty is going to move the football back out to the 24.
Yeah, huge loss on that one. And a great break for the Knights, which they need after that first offensive miscue at the interception. This is exactly what they need if they can capitalize on it and keep them out of the end zone.
So from the 24-yard line now, we'll see what the Redhawks do on offense. Davies can throw the ball, even though they like to run the football.
Knights show blitz, but then pull back.
Davies going to throw for the end zone and overthrows his receiver. Now they're going to call a penalty.
2 flags coming in. I don't know about that one. The receiver wasn't even looking for the ball, and it seemed like it was overthrown.
Yeah, Justin Gonzalez had some contact, but the receiver, again, it looked like Malcolm Robinson, the intended receiver, wasn't even looking towards where the ball was thrown and had no real shot at it, even despite the contact.
Exactly. So even if he hadn't been contacted, I'm not sure he would have gotten to where that ball needed to be. So that's always tough when you get that as a receiver.
Let's see if they assess the penalty or pick it up. So we're going to see if the referee calls this a penalty or not.
And it looks like he is.
Yep.
And just like that, the hold penalty that really favored the Knights and gave them a break now taken away by the penalty on the next play.
Really too bad because, again, I thought the receiver wasn't even looking in the direction of the football, and even despite the contact, even without any contact taking place, had no shot at catching that football.
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, you can blame the ref on that, and I think that's justifiable, but also in that scenario, as a defensive back, you don't need to make that contact. If he's not looking for it, if it's not even there, then there's no reason to
Yeah, I'm not sure the receiver or the defender, Justin Gonzalez, had an idea where the ball was actually at. Now, after the penalty is assessed, it's 1st and goal at the 9. So not only does it move the ball closer, but it makes it 1st down.
Yeah, difficult situation. The Knights are going to have to bear down here quickly.
Let's see if Nieves, the running back, gets it. He will.
He does.
Right side, got a hole, and he's into the end zone.
And just like that, 3.5 minutes into the game, the Redhawks take the lead off after that initial miscue by the Knights offense. They're going to have to shore that up quickly.
Art, Montclair had a short field to work with after the interception. I know Mitch Stevenson would like to have that pass back.
Oh, I'm sure. And again, there have been a couple of mistakes that the Knights would have liked to have had back. Certainly the pick, he'd like to have the throwback, the defensive play by Gonzalez there, a couple of things. But again, we've seen this from the Knights so far this year, and sometimes they've been able to come back and pull that together and do what they need to climb back into the game. And it's still early. One score is not tragic, but it certainly doesn't help. So we'll see if the Knights can put it together and come back and get the offense moving.
And the extra point is good, so it is Montclair on top here, 7-0 in this football game with 11:36 to go here in the first quarter of action as the Montclair Redhawks score first after an interception. Mitch Stevenson's pass picked up by the Redhawks defense, and they get a short field to work with and eventually get the touchdown run by Nieves from the 9-yard line to make it 7-0 Montclair State. Montclair State again, a team that has won 3 straight football games after losing its opener. One of the better teams in the New Jersey Athletic Conference, right there with Morrisville and Rowan. And by the way, Morrisville State will be the next home game for the Knights coming up October the 25th. Next week they get the long road trip, Art, to New York. They got to go to Cortland.
Yeah, long road trips are not fun for sports teams. They don't travel in the lap of luxury that the pro teams do, of course. So distance means a lot more at this level than it does higher up.
Here comes the kickoff. It's going to be Kyler Harris again returning this one. He gets it up to the 20-yard line, gets stifled right there, and wrestled to the ground.
Yeah, still a decent return, though. Generally speaking, as long as you can get it to the 20 where you would have gotten it from the touchback, it's worth taking the risk of breaking a big one. So starting at the 20, not terrible at all. The Knights have decent field position, certainly not the 32-yard field that the Redhawks had last time.
Well, Art, that first series they came out throwing. Now you wonder, will they come out and try to establish the running game here with Jerry Washington? We'll see.
I hope they do at some point, not necessarily on first down. The thing is, when you give your quarterback 3 consecutive passing plays, he throws a pick, and then you immediately go to the run game, it shows you don't have confidence
and
in
now
him.
we've got movement along the right side of the line. It looked like maybe the right tackle jumped.
Yeah, I believe so. Looked like number 58 for the Knights jumping off sides that time.
Evan Nelson, I believe, anticipating the snap, anticipating the play, and picks up the 5-yard penalty, moves the football back to around the 16-yard line and makes it 1st and 15.
Yeah, another difficult miscue for the Knights to take. As I was saying, though, when you run 3 consecutive passes and then it's a pick and you runs immediately after, it tells your quarterback you don't have confidence in him, and that's not what he needs right now.
The little inside handoff reverse to Harrison. He is hit and belted to the ground.
Yeah, it was a great play there, almost a variant to the jet sweep.
Joshua Betts, the outside linebacker, really anticipating that play. He was right there to knock down Harris for a loss.
Yeah, read that very, very well. Unfortunately, the Knights really in a bad spot now, 2nd and about 20.
Ball is back to the 13-yard line. Almost 18 to go, 2nd down, 18 to go. I think they have to get to around the 31 to get a first down. See what Mitch Stevenson can produce here on a 2nd and long. He wants to throw, and he's got Jerry Washington, but he drops the football, and just as well because he was hit by Malcolm Robinson. And Malcolm Robinson was all over that play. It just seems like the Redhawks defense here, Art, is smelling out these plays ahead of time and have their defenders exactly where they need to be.
Yeah, they really have been. It's a difficult situation for the Knights to adapt to. It seems like whatever they're running, the Redhawks are ready for it.
So now it's 3rd down, almost 18 to go here coming up for the Knights. And we'll see if Mitch Stevenson can maybe complete a long pass. If he's got the time. It really comes down here to the offensive line providing some good pass protection.
Yeah, they're going to need it. This is definitely a pass play, and yet they
Draw
decide
play.
to run it.
Jerry Washington got some good yardage. I think they just really wanted to get the punter a better shot at punting the football, thinking maybe they couldn't pick up that much yardage. 18, Jerry Washington looked like he picked up 5 or 6 that time, but it's a punting situation coming up here for the Knights.
Yeah, it's either that they wanted to pick up a few for the punter or they heard me on the broadcast. I said they were going to start out running. They started out passing. I said they were going to pass on that when they run. So now they're just messing with me.
Well, right now the Knights just need a good punt, and then they got to get a defensive stand to kind of stabilize the momentum in this football game.
Absolutely.
See if we can get some good Knight pass protection or punt protection and then have a good punt. Nice high kick. End over end, but returnable by the return man who gets it back across the 50 to the 48. A number of Knights were there, including Robert Roberts right there to make the hit.
Yeah, great job by the Knights to wrap up, gang tackle, and hang on to that one.
Todd Workman, too.
Yeah, Workman, interesting to see him out there on the punt team, but he's there because of his physicality.
So used to seeing him obviously running the football in the backfield the last 2 to 3 seasons.
Yeah, but great job by him getting in on the gang tackle and not allowing the return man for the Redhawks to break one.
So now the Redhawks are again starting a drive on the Southern Virginia side of the 50, this time the 48-yard line.
Yeah, 48's still great field position for them, but better than 32. They've got him chased.
Davies got away, threw a little screen pass, but that Knights are all over that one. And they knocked down the ball carrier for about a 5-yard loss. That was Daryl Adams coming in.
Yeah, great job by the Knights that time. The pursuit of the quarterback, even though he did get away, that certainly limits his throwing options and delays that play, stretches it out. And when he does finally find a man, it ends up he should have just dropped the ball, frankly, as the receiver, but decides to catch it and ends up for a loss. 2nd and 14. That's the beginning of that big stand we're talking about that the Knights need.
See if the Knights can hold without allowing a first down. It's 2nd down, 14 to go. Davies going to go under center.
Looked like a little bit of movement they may have gotten away with.
Nieves is hit and dropped. I think Coulter Evans was the one who made that stop after about a 4-yard pickup back to the original line of scrimmage of the 48-yard line.
Yeah, what we've seen so far this year from the Knights is when they need a big play, when they need to put their foot down and take a stand, that happens a lot more on the defensive side. It's the defense that gets the offense going for the Knights squad this year, at least from what I've seen. And the Knights certainly doing that right now, bringing up a 3rd and a very long 10. 5 receivers out. And Redhawks quarterback under shotgun now.
Yeah, Davies the quarterback. Let's see if he can get some pass rush from the Knights. They're going to throw over the middle. It's complete for a first down. Redhawks get a big pass completion as Devon Levask made that hit or catch at the 30-yard line. He goes down right there. That was just threading the needle, though, by the Redhawks quarterback, Davies.
Yeah, defensive stand by the Knights on the first couple of plays. That one able to connect, but they cannot let that rattle them. Even though it was a first down, it certainly wasn't a touchdown. They've got room to go where they can still stop them here and prevent the score.
Knights just, again, looking for that big defensive stop to kind of shift momentum in this football game. Redhawks will go back to the ground game. It's Nieves again, right side. Lots of running room, 20-yard line, 15, down to the 12.
Yeah, you can tell they're a running team. Their receivers are good blockers, and in that scenario, that's part of what broke them free on that time. Nieves to get the hole that he needed. He's got receivers that are willing to block for him.
Not very big, 5'7", 190 pounds, but he is low to the ground and tough to bring down. We've seen that in the first quarter here.
Yeah, and it's really about playing to your advantages. If you're big, you use your strength. If you're small, you use your versatility, your quickness, and Nieves certainly adept at doing that.
Good start so far for Montclair, and the Knights are looking for a big stop as Nieves is going to get the handoff again. He got away from one tackler, got to the left side, and he is into another end zone for another touchdown for Montclair. Nieves scores for the 2nd time in this first quarter.
Yeah, very, very fast. And what's really impressed me is his ability to get yards after contact. Again, that one looked like it was going to get blown up in the backfield, but he was able to shake loose, get by him, and ultimately get into the end zone.
Yeah, that could have easily been a 2 or 3 yard loss, but Nieves just got right by the Knight defender. It was a sole defender who had a shot at him in the backfield.
Yeah, and as soon as you get away from that one and that hole's there, it's big enough for him to get through to score.
And Montclair's kick is good to make it 14-0 Redhawks. Not desperation time just yet, but the Knights really could use a big offensive response.
Yeah, difficult start for them so far in this game. They're going to have to turn around here pretty quickly. They've shown that the defense has had some good stops. They have the ability to do it. They're just going to have to get on that.
7:20 to go in this first quarter, and right now it is all Knights trying to catch up to Montclair. Montclair has scored twice in this first quarter to take a 14-0 lead. And they've started on the Southern Virginia side of the 50 on both their touchdown drives after the interception on the first drive, and then starting after the punt return at the 50-yard or 48-yard line of SVU. So they've had excellent field position, and they've been able to work it into a couple of scores.
Yeah, and that's really the difficult thing for the Knights to swallow at this point is they're down 14-0, and they've only the Redhawks have only needed 80 yards of offense to do that. So they're yet to have a possession starting on their own side of the field. So the Knights are going to have to do something about that to give them worse field position.
Going to be Harris again. Kyler Harris returning this kick at the 1-yard line. Starts to the right side now, looking for some running room.
Good cut.
Got to the 27. Good return by Kyler.
Well, and as I was mentioning earlier, the Knights special teams as well, they have all the tools to be very successful. They've been impressive so far today on their returns. If everyone else can step up to the caliber of their special teams, it will be a big, big boon for the Knights.
Well, we're waiting to see one of the guys who had a fantastic game a few weeks ago in tight end Michael Carroll. See him catch a few passes today.
Yeah, he's had a couple of big catches, as we saw in the game at Salem versus Guilford, and since then as well. Quick pass to the outside.
Caught for a short gain. That's Brian Phillips. And he is down around the 31-yard line, just across the 30 for a very short game, but good positive yardage on first down.
Yeah, it looks like they're giving him a pretty generous spot on that one, so brings up about 4. That'll be 2nd down and 6. The Knights will take that, both for the momentum and the yardage itself. That's a great play on first down for the Knights.
Well, let's see on 2nd down and about 6 to go if they give that ball to Jerry Washington. Jerry's been averaging about 3 yards a carry here so far in 2014.
Coming out of the shotgun, Stevenson, and he does hand off.
Coates, I believe, and he got a short gain, maybe a half yard to a yard. Got up to the 31, and that's about all, as that Red Hawk defense really stacked up things in the middle of the line.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the Red Hawks just seem like they're in the huddle with the Knights, able to read where they're going every time. When the Knights have been successful on passes, they're immediately there to catch, but then stop them and runs. They're in the backfield every time.
Knights still looking for their first down. 6 minutes gone, or 6 minutes to go in this first quarter, and they really need a first down here again to keep that Red Hawks offense off the field.
Yeah, they've unfortunately shown an inability to stop them. Oh!
Stevenson throws another interception at the 40-yard line. It is picked up by the Red Hawks. It looked like the defender had the inside position to the football from the receiver, and that is another big turnover on the Knights' part.
Yeah, once again, it's almost inexplicable how they're jumping routes. They know exactly where the Knights are going every time on this, and once again, they have very, very good field position. In this case, I believe their best of the game now at the 30. So this is their shortest, or actually it'll be spotted at the 34, so it'll be their second best, if you can believe it. Starting drives at the 32 and the 48 as well.
And all 3 drives again starting at the Southern Virginia side of the 50-yard line. Looks like they may throw. Davies back to throw. And we've got flags. Penalty. Looks like it may be a legal procedure, the call against the Red Hawks. Somebody moved early.
Yep, that is the call, and that'll back them up. And so this gives the Knights a pretty good situation. Now it's going to be 1st and 15, so they'll have to capitalize on this. The Red Hawks have given the Knights a couple of opportunities so far to stop them. Frankly, they've helped them out a little bit, and the Knights have taken some of them and not taken others. In this case, they're going to have to step up and use this momentum now to get a stop.
Art, I know it's just the first quarter, but you almost get the feeling of a little desperation that the Knights cannot fall behind a team as talented as Montclair is, 21-0.
Yeah, it's a difficult start for the Knights, certainly, and as you said, there is a lot of time left, but things being as they are now, you can already see frustration on the Knights sideline, and this can get out of hand very, very quickly. They're going to have to shore it up.
Obviously, the turnovers are for it, but really right now in this first quarter, Montclair is just showing how talented they are.
Absolutely. So all the credit in the world to them, but the Knights aren't helping themselves much either, unfortunately.
1st and 15. Nieves gets the
Good
carry.
Stop.
And the Knights really do a great job stacking him up for a short gain.
Yeah, the Knights' defense is so talented and really have a lot of ability to succeed. The problem is as you said, they've gotten the ball with less than 50 yards to defend, and that can be really frustrating as a defender because you can, every once in a while, you have to cheat a little bit. You have to let them get a little here or there to feel it out, and the Knights just haven't had the ability to do that because they've never had the chance to defend the length of the field.
Short game. about 4 yards. So now it's going to bring up second down, almost 11 to go. Ball is just around the 34-yard line of the Knights. Davies wants to throw again from the shotgun.
Same position he threw his last touchdown
And he's
from.
dragged down from behind.
Great job, Knights wrapping up on that one.
I think that was Englert making the play. Zachary Englert, linebacker, coming in from behind.
Yeah, and it's interesting, as I talked about seeing frustration on the sideline, Zach was actually one that I saw down here a minute ago that seemed kind of frustrated after that last series, like he wasn't happy with the way things were going. And as we talk about as well, emotion can be channeled, can either be a distraction or can be channeled for your success. And that time, Zach channeling it very well and taking it out on the quarterback.
So now it is third down, 10 to go. Tariq Turner is in there as the running back on a 3rd and 10, and Davies wants to throw. He throws over to the right. It is caught. Down to the 21-yard line or so. It's complete for a first down as Aaron Williams makes the catch.
Yeah, the Knights able to get a stop there, but not until after the first down. They've had a couple of big plays, but they're going to have to string some of these big plays together in order to break this momentum that's swinging in the favor of the Redhawks.
And right now it's come down to the quarterbacks. Davies been threading the needle on his short passes, and, of course, Mitch Stevenson's been picked off twice.
Yeah, the offense has really struggled so far today, and unfortunately when your offense struggles, that's what gives your defense a difficult time as well.
And it's back to the ground game, and this time it's Turner, the second tailback, the backup tailback, and he gets a short gain down close to around the 20-yard line, pick up of maybe a yard or two. So it's going to bring up a second down coming up for the Redhawks. The ball is right now at the 20. And we're down to 3:20 to go here in the first quarter, 14-0. Montclair's on top. Second down, about 8 to go for the Redhawks. They've done a good job, too, Art, of mixing the run of the pass.
Yeah, they really have. Back into the shotgun again. There's been a lot of comfort there for the Redhawks where they've been running out of. Going to it again.
Davies throwing right side, man there, and it's tipped away by Gonzalez. What a big play by Justin.
Tipped away, and you could tell he almost seemed a little frustrated that he didn't come up with that one. It was a great effort by him. Matt Gregory coming over to help on that as well. It looked scary for a second, but again, the Knights able to come up big, bringing up a really big 3rd and long. A stop here and forcing the field goal could be very, very big momentum-wise for the Knights.
And the Knights really hope to force a field goal attempt, but they still have to survive a 3rd down and 7 to go with 2:55 left in the quarter. Ball to 19, and the Redhawks will have to get to around the 12 to get a first down.
Big play here, the Knights.
Let's see if they get the play off.
And
they just do.
Just barely.
Davies pump fakes, fires, got his receiver, dragging near the first down marker.
Yeah, it looks like the receiver knew exactly where that stick was, able to get out past it, and I thought they were going to call it a first down.
Ball's very close to the first down marker.
They have not moved it yet. They are now officially calling it. It is a first down.
And that was just a good job by the receiver to know exactly where he had to go to. And a good job of pump faking, too, by the quarterback Davies.
Yeah, and that's the difficult situation as a defensive back is, especially when you've been beaten deep, do you stop the touchdown or do you stop the first down? And in that case, you have to guard against the touchdown and hope, even if they do get the first down, at least you have another opportunity to stop the score.
Knights still have hopes of stopping this drive, but now it's first down for the Redhawks. And they go back to the ground game. And it's going to be another touchdown. This time it is Tariq Turner, but there is a flag, so this may be coming back on a hold.
Yeah, we'll see that
Thrown
one.
in the middle of the field.
Yeah, again, kind of in the area of the hold, a little bit late typically for what you would see for a hold, but we'll see.
I'm guessing hold here, Art, and it would be a big holding penalty to wipe out a 3rd touchdown.
If you guess hold, it's probably right. If I do, they'll call something else. It's been that kind of day.
That's right. If you guessed it, they'd call holding on Southern Virginia, wouldn't they?
There you go, and it is holding on the Redhawks. That'll bring it back.
Although they've done pretty well in this first quarter rebounding from penalties against the Redhawks.
Oh, they really have. That's true. So that'll bring up first and very long, but at the same time, as you mentioned, that hasn't been that hasn't been a hurdle they've been unable to overcome today.
Yeah, it's first down, almost 15 to go. The ball's at the 17. They're going to have to get down to around the 3 to get a first down. Davies goes under center. Redhawks, even though they need 15 yards almost for a first down, not shy about running the ball, and they're going to give it to Tariq Turner. Trying the right side, but the Knights do a great job stringing that play out.
Yeah, wonderful job keeping contained, forcing him to the outside towards the sideline, eventually just ran out of room.
Daryl Adams making the play.
And once again, it's the Knights doing what they need to, backing him up a little bit. It looks like they lost a yard or two on that play. So can they string together a couple of those stops is the question at this point. If so, this could be a huge shift in the favor of the Knights.
2nd and long coming up for the Red Hawks. And they've been able to complete a lot of passes in situations like this here in this first quarter.
They have. This is seems to be their favorite formation.
High snap.
And it's long.
And Davies dives on it way back at the 40-yard line. Boy, the Knights really wanted that football, and they're trying to wrestle away, but I think they're going to signal that Davies recovered it initially when he hit the ground. Knights almost had it.
Yeah, you could see the excitement coming in.
Sam Malore making the play.
Yeah, Sam fighting for that one. And as we talked about stringing a couple of plays together, that one, the Red Hawks helping the Knights out a bit.
That got the crowd really into it.
Oh, yeah.
So now it's going to be, what, 3rd and about 36. The ball's near the 40, and they have to get to around the 3 or 4 yard line.
Yeah, it's practically 3rd and goal at this point. They can get the first down without getting the touchdown, but not by much.
My guess is the goal here for the Red Hawks will be to get a 15 or 20-yard pass completion and kick a field goal.
If
they can do that. The ball's at the 38 right now. They're going to have to get to about the 3 to get a first down. So it's almost 3rd and 35 to go.
Yeah,
and they go with an inside pass.
Yeah,
but the Knights do a great job.
Great job by the Knights. That time they go to that 5 wideouts formation that they used to strike deep earlier. But that time they...
Robert Roberts, I think, made the play.
Yeah, coming up quick, making the stop there in the flat. And the Knights defense making a big stop. That's exactly what we were talking about. They need. The defense will spurn on the offense for the Knights if they can. And that is exactly what's going on. And it looks like they're going to punt.
No, definitely. Nothing else to do here on a 3rd and long or 4th and long. And they're going to try to angle for the inside the 5 yard line. And it has tipped and downed around the 5 yard line. Actually, it was tipped around the 5 yard line down to the 2. And they're going to say down at the 2 yard line. So Knights are pinned deep. Even though the defense was able to do its job, the offense is back in a hole around the 2 yard line.
Yeah, dangerous field position for the Knights, especially with the difficulties the offense has had. So on the one hand, it's difficult for them to have to start so far in their own territory. On the other, you have to be happy if you're Coach Walker that your defense was able to come up on that one and come up with a stop.
Now, Art, there are a couple of things to keep in mind here. Obviously, you just cannot do a 3 and out because you'll kick it right back to the Red Hawks and give them fantastic position. You can't have a turnover here either.
No, absolutely not.
Play action. Nope, going to run the football, and good gain all the way up to around the 9 or 10 yard line.
Yeah, that's a great play. Just a few yards. You want to start moving it up little by little. And is that a flag down, I believe?
Yep. Jerry Washington picked up 8. You hope this one's not coming back. It's not so much the penalty yards because they'll do half the distance and put it at the 1. It's wiping out an 8 yard gain.
Yeah, the result of the play on that one, very good. And looks like the referees getting together right in the bunch with the players. Let's see what's going on there. Is that
Looks
a personal
like it's going to be a
foul?
Southern Virginia University penalty.
I believe the signal on that was a personal foul against the Knights. That would be one of those situations as we talk about emotion and the difficulty there.
Did not see anything happen basically towards the end of the play, Art.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The result of the play, Jerry Washington had his helmet off, and I wonder if it wasn't if he took it off maybe, or I didn't see what happened on that one. But the upside, I guess, is that the personal foul, because of their position on the field, doesn't hurt them nearly as much as it would if they were in a better field position.
So that's the end of the first quarter, 14-0 Montclair at the end of one quarter, and needless to say, that was a quarter dominated by Montclair, but assisted greatly by Southern Virginia University turnovers.
That's true. As it wound down, though, it seemed like the Knights were starting to get a little bit better stops on the defensive side, and, of course, that last time actually able to force the punt. So as we get closer to the second, the Knights were looking a bit better. We'll have to see where they're at momentum-wise as they start this second half now.
And again, it's kind of desperation time for the Knights. I know we've got the entire second half to go, but the one thing they want to do now is pick up some first downs, get away from their own goal line, not have any more turnovers, obviously, in this first half of action. And they certainly want to find a way to get some points on the scoreboard, trailing Montclair 14-0 as we get this second quarter underway.
Yeah, they've got to start getting some momentum here in some fashion, whether it be from a stop, whether it be from some offense. However they do it, they're going to have to get something going.
So let's see what the Knights can do deep in their own end to start the second period of play. Ball is at the 5-yard line following the penalty. Joey Washington's in that backfield along with Mitch Stevenson, the quarterback, and Coach, the other running back.
Well, and
must have been a dead ball foul because they're going to give the ball to the 5-yard line. So it is a second down coming up for the Knights.
Yeah, so it is they get the results of the play and then the penalty as opposed to just the penalty.
So the ball's at the 5-yard line.
The loss of down's big, though.
And Mitch Stevenson rolling, looking downfield, fires, got his receiver. 15-yard line, big pass reception there. Brian Phillips.
Right there on the sideline, able to draw that one in. Great play by the Knights. I believe that was Kyler Harris actually making the catch.
Yeah, okay. Harris making the catch at the 15-yard line.
So,
and it brings up 3rd and short now. You can run the ball here if you'd like.
Yeah, and I think that's the big result of that play. The reason that's really important is because it does give you some options here on 3rd.
Showing blitz. Here comes the blitz. Stevenson wants to throw. Fires over for Goring, and he's trying instead for the other receiver out there, and that was Angel Medina, and he overthrew him on the sidelines, incomplete.
Yeah, it was a good thought. He had an open man, but just overthrew him that time. But it's frustrating when you're in a situation like that where you've got a man, but you've already thrown a pick. It can make you second guess yourself just a little bit, perhaps what was going on there. So, again, even though the Knights weren't able to come up with a first down and get a drive going on that one, they had some more positive plays. There were some good things that came out of that. I still think that's better than the first few drives that they've had.
And now the Knights are forced to punt. And here comes the kick, and let's see what kind of return the Redhawks get at the 50-yard line. Good return so far, a lot of room.
Still on his feet, too.
To the 35.
Yeah, he had a great block that time. The Redhawks receiver did.
So again, the Redhawks are going to start in fantastic field position. Yet again, they will start on the Southern Virginia side of the 50-yard line. 14:21 to go until halftime. It is 14-0 right now. Montclair ahead of Southern Virginia. And Southern Virginia's defense back onto the field again, trying to get something going, trying to stop Montclair again and really hold this momentum for Montclair. The Redhawks have been dominant here in this first half of action, leading by 2 scores. And they're going to start this drive at the 35-yard line. And they're going to go to the running back to returner, and he is hit and buried for a loss of a yard. Big defensive play again by the Knights, and I believe that was Zachary Engler coming in. The linebacker, the 6'1", 225-pound linebacker out of Salt Lake City, making a big stop. Loss of a yard. Back to the 36-yard line, brings up second down and 11 to go now here for the Redhawks of Montclair State from New Jersey. Let's see now if the Redhawks go back to that passing game after losing a yard on a running play. On second down and 11, Davies wants to throw, fires to the running back, Turner out of the backfield, and he's hit and knocked down. A big defensive play again by the Knights, that time Steven Scott.
Yeah, Scott stepping up in that one and just laying the lumber. Great stop on a big play.
Another loss of a yard, too. It pulls the ball back to the 37-yard line.
Yeah, once again, this Knight defense putting their foot down and trying to give the offense another chance. The defense can keep them in this game long enough to let the offense get going. The Knights may have a shot still.
3rd and 12. Davies been very effective in this first half, threading the needle on pass plays like this. Let's see if he's able to do so now on a 3rd and 12. He's got time. Looks downfield and fires into a crowd. It's intercepted. Oh! No, it's almost intercepted by the Knights. around the 7-yard line. That was Nathan Barrett, who had a shot at it. Had a clear-cut interception, but just dropped the football.
Yeah, right into his hands on that one.
This may still work out. They may punt here, and it may go into the end zone, and the Knights may actually get better position.
Exactly. I was just going to say that's one of those that you hate to miss as a D-back, but at the same time, it may end up cutting in your favor depending on what happens here on 4th.
We'll see what the punter for the Redhawks can do, if he can pin Southern Virginia back deep, or maybe Kyler Harris might actually get a return on this punt. High kick, and they're hoping it's going to go to the end zone, and it does. Goes into the end zone, and so that works out pretty well for Southern Virginia, as the offense will come back onto the field, and the Knights will take over, still trailing in this football game, though, 14-0 on homecoming with 12:37 to go. It has been all Redhawks so far, thanks to a couple of turnovers by the Knights, 2 interceptions, 2 passes that were picked off. Mitch Stevenson trying to find a way to get things going here. Stevenson still out there at quarterback. They've got Todd Workman out there now as a running back, along with Jamal Coates. Let us see what the Knights do on this series. Trying to get some offense together, trying to get a first down, first of all. And Stevenson wants to throw to the right side. He's got a receiver out there. Harris
went up for it.
And they're going to rule incomplete.
Oh.
Boy, Kyler Harris almost made a miraculous catch up around the 47-yard line.
Yeah, a lot of contact on that one as well there at the end. In my opinion, as much as we got down here at the other end of the pass interference call in the end zone on the Knights. But as you mentioned, a heroic effort despite them ruling it incomplete.
Knights still looking to pick up that first down of the football game. Ball's right now at the 20-yard line. They've got Killstrom over to the left. And Todd Workman and Coates are in the backfield alongside Stevenson, the quarterback, who's from the shotgun. And hands it off to Workman. And Workman gets a decent gain across the right side and turns the corner and gets upfield for about 5, almost 6 yards.
Yeah, great result for them. Workman now getting in the game, as you mentioned, in the running. He's been able to do it a lot for the past, or in the past for the Knights, and they could really use his ability to gain yards now, both to move towards the first down himself and also to open up.
So it's going to be 3rd down after the 4-yard game, up to the 24-yard line. 3rd down, 6 to go. And Mitch Stevenson got a big play coming up here if he can make a pass completion. I would assume the Knights will pass through here on needing 6 yards. They have to get to the 30 to get their first down of the football game.
Yeah, that would be a huge benefit to them as well. Again, as momentum starts moving in your favor, just seeing those first downs come, seeing the sticks move.
Stevenson looks, fires, got his receiver for a first down.
And that'll
Pulled
be
in.
it. As you mentioned, the first down of the game coming up. Doug Boyer on the reception that time, and the Knights starting to get something going. Montclair with those 2 early scores looked like they were going to put this game away securely, quickly, but now the Knights rallying. We'll see if they can continue this drive. That would be such a huge shift in momentum for them to come down and get a score and be just down 1.
So the sophomore Doug Boyer with a big pass reception. First down Knights, 37-yard line. Play action. Stevenson looks downfield, has to throw short, has his receiver, Jamal Coates.
Yep, and great time looking off his first read. Man was covered and coming back short, and they're finally starting to move the ball. This is very good.
Nice short game, about for 4 yards. That's the key here, Art. If they can work the clock a little bit, keep Montclair's offense off the field, maybe get a touchdown, right back in this football game. Only down by 14 right now in the second period.
Yeah, and being down 2 so early, this is a great opportunity for them to rally.
Todd Workman up the middle, nice burst. And Todd gets almost to the 40-yard line before he stopped, just shy of the 40. Boy, Todd Workman, we remember him running like this 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Strong runner.
Yeah, and now that things have settled in a bit for the Knights, that early burst of emotion has calmed down a little bit. They took a couple of shots, as you mentioned earlier, happened in the Methodist game, and hopefully now starting to dial in, starting to get it going. And if they can keep this drive going, again, so huge.
Well, big play coming up here, 39-yard line. They need about 3, almost 4 yards to get a first down. They have to get to the 42. Stevenson's going to roll. He's going to look. Has time. Fires. Incomplete. Great play by the defender to go over the back of the receiver, Art, and not pick up a flag.
Yes.
C.J. Conway, the cornerback, was all over the receiver. It looked like he was on his back and got the hand across to knock the ball away. And according to the refs, not enough contact to warrant a flag. So that's a big, big play by that Redhawks defense.
Yes, I'm going to be careful again with what I say on that and say, yes, he was fortunate to not draw a flag on that one, especially on such a critical down for the Knights. And unfortunately now they're forced to punt it away.
But they got a first down or two, and now they'll go ahead and kick it away. And good job by the punter to angle it away from the return man.
Oh,
and
what
nice
a beautiful roll. And it stops.
All the way to the 5, down to the 4.
Great punt. Such a great job that time. The Knights able to pin that one way, way back in there.
So the Knights get a great job by the punter to get that ball all the way down to the 4. And now it's on the defense here, Art. And this is where your defense really cannot allow a first down to really take advantage of that fantastic punt.
Yeah, it's really important, especially since this will be the first time the Redhawks have really had a long field to have to go, stopping them here, or at least slowing them down, giving your offense a little bit of time to rally and revel in the success they had in that drive. Very important.
Now you would expect here the Knights, the Redhawks will make it, will play it safe and they just try to run the football, but you never know. They've been mixing things up all game long in this first half. They're going to go to the ground game, and it's a short gain, as the Knights knock down the ball carrier for only about a yard pickup to the 5-yard line.
Yeah, taking a stand.
That was Nieves, and we got an injured Knight down on the field.
Tries to get up, and looks like he does, but
I think that was the defender who actually was in on the hit to knock down Nieves for only about a yard pickup.
Yeah, I think that's Matt Gregory, and if so, that will be a huge loss to the defense. Zach Englert, excuse me, the Knight. Also one of those anchors on the defense, though.
They'll continue to work on the injured defender, and that was a big play for the Knights defense on a first down play to limit that play to only a yard to make it 2nd down and 9. Again, Montclair on top here, 14-0 with 9:55 to go till halftime. And Art, you'll have some halftime interviews coming up.
Yeah, quite a bit of festivities coming on. First, we're going to be sure to stay on the broadcast. I'll be interviewing Deidre Dryden, our senior women's administrator, on the half. We'll be interviewing her during the halftime show by the cheerleaders and the dance company. They've been working a lot on that. We'll see how that the results of their efforts there. We'll also have a quick commercial after that, and then hopefully get President and Diane Wilcox.
Going to be Nieves again, and again a short gain. Only to around the 6, maybe the 7 at best. And the Knights defense shutting down that running play for a very short gain, only about a 2-yard pickup to the 7. So that should make it 3rd down and 7 to go.
Yeah, if the Knights can get a stop here, it will be the best field position their offense has had so far, I would imagine. Even a decent punt here, unless it gets a really good roll like the Knights' last one did, it'll be a great position for them.
Montclair's not used to this. This is their first time starting a drive on their side of the 50, deep in their side of the 50-yard line. Davies going to play it safe, do the running play again with Nieves, and the Knights knock him backwards.
Well,
a lot of defenders there that time.
Yeah, I've been so impressed by the Knights, as I said, against in the Methodist game, to get some punches in the mouth, but to dial it back, to respond, to put it together and not fold. Again in this game, it looked so bad so early in that first few minutes. It looked like the final score of this one was going to get out of hand, but already the Knights rallying as well, sticking together, pulling it out, and now forcing the punt.
And they're going to play for the return. High kick. Harris fielding at his 45. Has some blocks. Then he is hit and dragged down to the 48-yard line. But still, fantastic starting position. Best starting position, I think, all game long so far for the Knights at their own 48-yard line. They've got this clock down to 8:21 to go to halftime. And, Art, you get the feeling if they can put together a long drive, 52 yards, maybe take some minutes off the clock and get it into the end zone before halftime and get right back in this football game, it should be a very interesting second half.
Yeah, definitely. And as you mentioned, I think you're right. Very, very much the best field position they've had, and that really opens up the playbook for the offensive coordinator as well. Instead of having to run short runs and things, because you've got your back to the your own end zone. Now you've got a lot more possibilities. Now at midfield, you can take a few more risks, and that makes it harder for the defense of the Redhawks as well. We mentioned earlier they've been in the backfield of the Knights a lot, and seems like they've been in their heads. But really, when your options are limited so much, then it's not really hard to do that. So now with the playbook open for the Knights, it makes it that much harder for the Redhawks defense to know what is coming.
Well, they've got Jerry Washington and Jamal Coates in the backfield, along with the quarterback Mitch Stevenson. See if they start running the football with maybe Jerry Washington with Harris in motion.
Oh,
the ball's
on the ground.
Pops loose. And it looks like the Redhawks may have it. Ball came loose. It looked like they were going to try a reverse to Harris. Ball popped loose, and that is, I believe, the third turnover on the part of the Knights as the Redhawks recover that fumble.
And that is just a dagger. When you have an opportunity with that great a field position on the first play, they're looking, as we said, it gives them a lot more options, gives them a chance to be more creative, but in that situation, it just hurts because not only do you not take advantage of the offensive possession yourself, but now you give, again, great field position for the Redhawks, now only having to go 38 yards to go up 3 scores.
And except for that last drive where they started inside their own 5, the Redhawks have really owned the field possession ball game. They have started on the Southern Virginia side of the 50 numerous times in this first half, and now Nieves goes around the end, and he may be gone. 20, 15, 10, and knocked out of bounds shy of the end zone. Yeah, but another great run by Denzel Nieves.
Yeah, it was a good hustle by the Knights to get
Now we got a flag. Flags back upfield. These are going to be dead ball fouls.
3 of them.
This might impair the Redhawks' gain there. If they're dead ball, I would imagine they would come back from the final point of the football. Let's see.
Yeah, it looks like the side judge is spotting him down out at the 8-yard line. That's where he was stepped out. Richie Sparrow, great job getting involved there and preventing the score. And then we'll see what the actual result of the play is, or the penalty.
Holding is the call, and that is going to wipe out the entire game, which is even better, obviously, than a dead ball foul.
Absolutely. And another one.
Yeah, we're going to have 2 fouls. We're going to have an unsportsmanlike dead ball foul, and we're going to have that holding penalty. So this is huge. Wipes out that huge gain all the way down to the 8-yard line for the Redhawks, and it'll push them back on their side of the 50 all the way back to their 42-yard line.
What a huge play. I mean, that went from, originally after the fumble, they've got 38 yards to go. And they get 30 of them in one shot, but instead of getting 30 yards...
That's about a 50-yard differential.
Yeah. That is just massive. And
it's 1st and 30. The ball's at the 42, and they're going to have to get to the 28 of the Knights to get a first down.
And
they're going to play it safe.
Running on the first.
Nieves gets to the 48.
So then the Knights defense playing a kind of a bend not break now. They want to prevent the long ball for the first down, but they'll when it's 1st and 30, you can let them get 5 yards of play by rushing up the middle and still be okay with that.
Now, when you say play it safe, or I say play it safe, basically we've seen Nieves break some big runs. So I'm sure, obviously, the Redhawks think it's playing it safe, but they can also break Nieves for a big one.
Yeah, always a possibility. He's so fast, as we saw on the play where he did break down all the way to the outside. Just a couple of plays ago, but the Knights also with a lot of speed and now yardage in their favor.
2nd and 24. Davies throws, and the receiver makes the grab. Nope, dropped it, and probably just as well to 50-yard line.
Yeah, whether he caught it or dropped it in that scenario, the result would have been the same, which is the ball down about the 50.
So now it's 3rd and 24.
The Knights cannot allow a first down on this play. It would be so demoralizing to have 3rd and 24 converted.
And they'd love to get a big sack to set up a good punt.
Yes, yeah. Well, and that would be icing on the cake, but first they have to bake the cake, which is not letting a first down result from this.
Well, it looks like the Red Hawks are going to take a shot at it. Nothing but receivers in the pattern, and Davies, the quarterback from the shotgun. Quick pass. It's going to be a receiver screen, and the Knights do a great job knocking that play to only about a 3-yard pickup.
Second time we've seen that play today, and second time the Knights have rolled up on it, stopped it in the flat, and come up big. That brings up 4th and longer than I can imagine they'll do anything but punt.
Got Kyler Harris back there, and as long as this thing isn't pinned inside your 10-yard line, you're hoping for a big return here from Kyler.
Yeah, the opportunities there. Special teams, again, the Knights, one of their strong points.
Knights setting up for the return. Fair catch called for, and Harris makes the grab around the 12-yard line. Knights would have loved to have better field position, I'm sure, but they have the football back. And, Art, when you think about all the turnovers they have faced in this first half and the field position that the Red Hawks of Montclair have been blessed with, the Knights are fortunate only to be down by 14.
I 100% agree with you on that, 100%. Yes, the Knights don't have great field position on this one, but lest we forget, except for a couple of penalties, they also would have had 1st and goal down at the 8-yard line. The Red Hawks could have. So
still, the Knights really want to get some offense and get some points on the board before halftime because Montclair, of course, won the opening coin toss, deferred, and they get the ball to begin play in the second half.
Yeah, and besides the fact of them getting the ball, besides being down only 1 score, it would just be so much from an emotional standpoint to feel that you're getting there, having some points on the board.
Jerry Washington up the middle, nowhere to go, and buried at the line of scrimmage. That time, the Red Hawks' defensive line just clogged things up in the middle, and there was nowhere for Jerry to look for a hole.
Yeah, it looks like loss of about 1 or 2.
Back to the 11, so maybe a yard loss, yep.
Jerry Washington, also one of those guys that can break big plays as well. So sometimes you run to open up the pass. Sometimes you run because it's your strongest offensive option, and sometimes you do it those runs up the middle just for that one time. It's worth getting 2 or 3 on occasions if that one time you can break it big and end up getting a big result.
Second down at 11. Knights trying to complete a pass now as Stevenson drops to throw. Looks, fires upfield for Kyler Harris. He's behind the receiver. Our defender makes the grab. Kyler down the sideline is bumped out of bounds. The defender got turned around, and Harris got back inside the defender, and that's a huge pass completion for the Knights.
Beautiful throw, beautiful adjustment. Kyler Harris looking up, seeing what was going on and having to switch just a little bit to get over to it. Great adjustment. That is difficult to do, and then the presence of mind to take it, tuck it away, stiff arm the defender, pick up a few more yards. This is exactly what the Knights need momentum-wise.
And the cornerback, Conway, got turned around completely, but Harris was the one who was able to make the grab, and then I guess we've got also a penalty flag after the catch that goes against the Red Hawks and is going to move the football all the way to the 39 of Montclair.
Keep it on going.
So the Knights are in business at the 39-yard line. Let's see if they can keep it going here. And we've got
flag coming in.
Whistles blown. Let's see if this might be some sort of motion or illegal procedure.
Yeah, if they're whistling it dead before it starts, it's almost always a false start, and it is.
Turns it into a 1st and 15. It'll go back to the 44-yard line of Montclair. Clock obviously a factor as we near halftime, 5:10 to go. Red Hawks by 14 points here in the second quarter.
I'll tell you the other thing I really like about that throw by Mitch Stevenson over here to this side. It's the exact play that they ran, I think 2 drives ago, but he overthrew his man by a wide margin, and in this case still had the confidence come out, throw it again, connect, and get such a big gain.
Killstrom and Goring out to the right, Harris to the left. They throw across the middle for Goring, and it's just a little too tall for him.
Yeah,
incomplete.
Had a defender in his face that time, but maybe threw off the throw just a little bit and just barely off the fingertips of Michael Gehring.
Well, that's the kind of pass play you want. You want that slant pattern where Gehring goes across the middle and had the inside position, Art, but Mitch just threw that a little too tall for him.
Yep, just a quick one-step drop. So as you mentioned, got exactly what they wanted, just inches away from what could have been a big play.
And now it is going to be second down and 15 with the ball at the 44-yard line. Now Medina's the receiver over to the left. Stevenson looking at a blitz. Draw play instead. Oh, somebody got a hand on Jerry Washington that really limits that play. About a 5-yard pickup, but if he doesn't get hit at the defensive line and get tripped up there, right at the line of scrimmage. He might be into the secondary for 10 or 15 yards.
Yeah, big 94 from the Red Hawks, able to just get him by the shoelaces, but still a decent game. 3rd and 10 isn't great, but when you were at 2nd and 15, it's more manageable. We'll see.
It's also possible 4-down territory here.
That's true. The Knights' field goal unit not particularly long-ranged, and it is in that scenario where a punt doesn't gain you a whole lot.
Stevenson, quick throw, has his receiver. It's Angel Medina at the 32, and he's knocked down right there.
And it's going to move it up another chunk of yards, but I don't believe it will be enough for the first.
No, it looks like it's probably going to be 4th and 3, 4th and 4, thereabouts. Let's see where they mark him out. 4th and 5 is what they roll.
Medina, not a well-known receiver for the Knights. The Knights deciding to go for it, trying to capitalize on the momentum they've got so far.
Got to figure it's going to be a short pass, probably, although Washington's in the backfield. Could run the football, but it's going to be a short pass. And they've got the receiver for the first down.
Wow. And boy, Mitch Stevenson, had he taken one more second before throwing that ball, he was going to be on his back. The backside rush that time came in from the Red Hawks.
Nice pattern, too, run by Gehring.
And I'll tell you, that is a difficult call to make as an offensive coordinator. You make it and you're a hero. You don't and you're the villain. And he was able to have the guts to make that call and pick up the first down. All the props in the world to Southern Virginia offense.
This is exactly what the Knights were hoping for, to get first downs, grind the clock down. They would love, obviously, to consume the rest of this 3:44 on the clock and score before halftime and leave Montclair with nothing to work with. Stevenson going to throw across the middle again. That time the defender got there, looked a little early. No flag, though, as it's an incomplete pass.
Been very surprised at some of the contact on Southern Virginia receivers without drawing flags.
Well, that could have been simultaneous, but it looked to me like the defender hit Gehring just a tad early before the ball got there. But the referees think otherwise, so it's 2nd and 10.
Well, it turns out it's what they think that matters.
That's true. Well, we've always known that.
Yeah, not what we think, not what the folks at home thinks, not what the coaching staff thinks, but the refs themselves.
Mitch looking downfield, throws underneath for Jerry Washington. Again, the defender over the back, and then again, incomplete pass, and again, no penalty flag. So now it's 3rd and 10 for the Knights. They've been trying to do this short passing game, but the last 2 pass plays, according to the referees, well defended. So now it's 3rd and 10, and again, we could be looking at 4-down territory, or we could be looking for a field goal. Yeah, Knights really want to get on the scoreboard here before halftime, either way.
That pass would have been difficult to see a penalty anyway. Just about took the umpire's head off, so he had to self-preservation his first priority on that one, as it should be.
It would be about a 45-yard field goal right now. 28-yard line is the spot of the ball, and back
Stevenson
to pass goes Mitch Stevenson, throwing
Looking
for
deep.
the end zone. Going to be a jump ball up there, and it's picked off. That's the 4th turnover for the Knights and the 3rd interception. And probably an ill-advised pass, as they just threw basically a jump ball near the end zone.
Well, I don't think the pass itself was ill-advised. He had a man that had a step, but hanging it up as high as he did on that one gave time for the secondary of the Red Hawks to adjust over to it. Michael Gehring, I believe, was the man that had a step with the deep post route, but just Stevenson saw him maybe a little bit too late, or wasn't able to put it on a line enough to get it to him before the defense could collapse.
Plus, the pressure was coming on Mitch, and he didn't have a whole lot of time to make a decision.
True. But still, the best drive by the Knights so far this game, unable to get points out of it, but all in all, it's still getting a little better each time. The Knights doing what they can, and a flag coming in on this one on the run play by the Red Hawks.
I would imagine the one thing that the coaching staff for the Knights would love to see in the final 3 minutes and 16 seconds is a Montclair turnover. We have had 4 turnovers for the Knights. I don't believe Montclair has had a turnover just yet, although they have had some problems with penalties.
That's true, and certainly if you're on a -4 turnover margin, to be down 2 scores is not bad. Face mask, I believe the call on that one.
Goes against Montclair. Backs Montclair up a little further towards their own goal line. With 3:12 to go, you would imagine the Red Hawks will be very conservative with a 14-point lead, knowing they get the ball to begin playing the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, that's true, and certainly the Knights, as we said, love to pick up some points here, but at least getting a stop here, keeping it at 14. When you're down 14-0 5 minutes into the first quarter, and you can go in 14-0 at the half, I think that's a victory.
Ball's at the 3-yard line right now. Montclair going to play it safe, go to the ground game to Nieves, and he dives ahead across the 5 up to around the 6 or maybe 7.
So after the penalty on the first one was 1st and 15, gain of a few on that one will bring up still 2nd and quite long.
Sophomore defensive end Paul Anderson making the play there and limiting that gain to short yardage. So now it's 2nd down and long coming up for the Redhawks. And Montclair in no hurry, letting the clock run. Wanting to make sure, obviously, Art, if they don't pick up a first down, they leave very little time on the clock for the Knights.
Yeah, that's interesting, though, considering how fast they were striking early.
We're going to throw it deep. And it's almost intercepted by Justin Gonzalez. He almost had that interception.
Tell you what, I really like the side judge on that one. He was right on top of the play, and there was a bit of contact on that one, too. So despite the early pass interference call on the Knights going the other way, it looks like they're letting them play out there. So I know I've given the refs a little bit of a hard time, but they're certainly at this point look to be allowing the same thing both ways, which really is all you can ask.
Boy, that would have been a huge pickoff by Justin if he could have made it.
That's true. It also would have been a huge catch and potentially touchdown if the Redhawks catch it and get away with it. So
here we go, 3rd and 10.
Both teams, I think, content with neither getting the major advantage out of that.
And they're going to go to the ground game, and it's almost a safety as Turner, the backup tailback, is hit at the goal line. I think he's going to be marked down at the 1. The Knights were hoping to get a safety call.
Yeah, Knights signaling safety.
But he got hit at the 1 and down at the 1. And this is going to force Montclair, obviously the punter will be deep toward his own end line, and the Knights still have 2:14 to work with. Now, do you go after the punt? Or you set up for the return here?
I think you go after it. You absolutely go after it because he's probably going to hang it up there anyway. It's going to be difficult. The difference in where you get the ball on a good return is probably not going to be that big. But if you can actually get the block and get the safety, that first of all, that's your first points, and that's huge. Second of all, they kick off to you then, and that's huge. I think you absolutely go after the kicker. And he's got he doesn't have his normal split since they're so far back there. I go after him.
And he's got less time, obviously, to work with, less field to work with for actually getting rid of this ball. It's going to be a quick kick if he is able to get the snap back.
Yep. And even if you line up to go after it and bear down, punters are not used to being come after as much as quarterbacks are, so they're a little tend to be a little more sheepish breed.
And they get the punt away. Kyler Harris will have a chance to return it. He's at the 45. Gets a block.
Oh, and
he's down to 35.
Back judge
and
threw
they call
the flag
penalty.
in.
Really didn't need that penalty flag.
Blocker seemed to have gotten his head in front of the guy, but I'm guessing they're going to call it a block in the back.
And that's going to wipe out a decent return by Kyler. And Southern Virginia will still have, pretty good field position. They still have 2:04 on the clock to work with, but that's a big penalty.
It is. But still, if you look at the result where the Knights started and the possessions that they had in the beginning of the first quarter, and you look at the possessions that they have now, if you look at their the 3-and-outs they had early on, or not even, because interceptions, turnovers, stopping that to where they're getting now, they're getting better every step of the way. They're just going to have to at some point turn the corner and put some points in the end zone.
And this would be the time to do it. With only 2:04 to go to halftime. Mitch Stevenson, no, it's going to be a Rex Winslow, I guess, is in there, a quarterback, and he threw it.
And
incomplete.
The second time today, the umpire happens to be
right in the way.
In the wrong place at the wrong time.
So Mitch Stevenson has had 3 interceptions and also a fumble on a reverse play to Kyler Harris, and now they've gone to Rex Winslow as the quarterback, the left-hander.
The umpire is considered part of the field, so take
Winslow,
that for what it is. But
he's a sophomore, 5'11", from Ventura, California. And on the first pass play, it's incomplete, so 2nd down and 10 coming up.
It's checking down at the line.
And he's going to have to hurry.
He's going to get the play off.
Got movement. Did the Red Hawks jump off sides, or did somebody from the Knights offensive line move first?
The head linesman came running in saying it was a false start.
So now it's going to be 2nd down and 15 to go.
So once again, it doesn't matter who jumped. It matters who the ref saw. And in that case, they saw the Knights jumping.
We talked in the pregame that the Red Hawks defense will show a lot of different formations, and that the quarterback position was extremely important today for the Knights. And Mitch Stevenson has had his problems with interceptions, 3 in this first half, so they've gone to Rex Winslow, the backup quarterback now, giving him a chance to see what he can do in the final 2 minutes. 2nd and 15, ball to 44.
Well, the Knights still looking a little bit disorganized out there. Okay, now we're settled in.
Rex, a blitz, and he throws, and he's got his receiver, the running back, out of the backfield, Jerry Washington, and it's a short game, maybe a yard.
It is a short game, but at the same time, you have to like that Rex, after getting out there, gets a completion, able to start getting his feet under him a little bit. So even little completions, even if they're not for big gains or any gain, just starts getting you more familiar, more comfortable out there on the field, particularly as a backup.
And the Knights burn a timeout here. Still have hopes of trying to score before halftime. And they've gone again, Art, to Rex Winslow, putting Mitch Stevenson on the bench after those 3 interceptions.
Yeah, and you wonder, he's also been pressured and hit a lot today. You got to wonder how much that's impacting him, whether it's it could be based on performance, it could be a change of system, or it could be that he's got an injury, whether it's severe or not. There's all kinds of reasons that you substitute out a quarterback.
That, as you mentioned, it could be temporary, just to give him a little breather, clear his head a little bit, if not physically, perhaps just emotionally and mentally. And let's see what Winslow can do in this final drive before halftime. And we'll also see in the second half who the quarterback is.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it could be giving him a break just for the couple minutes, knowing that he'll come out in the second half. And also, it could be a thing after throwing some picks, to a message to him from Coach Walker that, hey, we do have other people out here. Get it together. So kind of I don't know if you call it a punishment, but some time to think about it just on one drive.
Big play here. 3rd down, about 14 to go.
Redhawks rushing hard at him.
Draw play. Jerry Washington gets the carry. Maybe a yard there, and that's about all. Knights playing it safe, and they're going to go ahead and punt the football away.
Yeah.
Well, on the plus side, Art, as we talked about earlier in this first half, with all these turnovers, the Knights are fortunate to be only down by 14. On the negative side is they just haven't been able to really manufacture consistently enough offense to get on the scoreboard. And they've got the second half to go where they can make a comeback, but Montclair will get the ball to begin playing the second half.
Yeah, and that's what makes it important for them to make a stand right now if they can, because it's if they can at least prevent another score from getting on the board, then they'll still be 2 down and have the chance to start again. With their defense having proven themselves over the last bit. We'll see whether or not that translates in the second half.
Well, you got to tip your hat to Montclair. They've had a pretty good first half, but then again, they've had all those turnovers, and they certainly have had the advantage when it comes to field position.
Well, and I think at this point, both teams kind of content to just let it wind down to half, both kind of taking it easy, and I think both also respecting each other, seeing the difficulty that the other team presents, the possibility or the threat that each team has to score. Both teams playing a little more timidly right now.
Mackie Smith getting ready to punt. Deep return man for the Red Hawks. Back around the 20-yard line or so. 1:40 on the clock till halftime. 14-0. Montclair on top, both touchdowns. Their running back scoring them for the Red Hawks, Denzel Nieves. Here comes the punt by the Knights, and they get it off. Downfield to the 15-yard line. Returned by Levask, and he gets it back across the 20 up to around the 23.
Yeah, definitely a good stop there. Had the opportunity to break free. There were some strong cuts that looked like he might be able to crack a big one.
Got another penalty flag, too.
Once again. We've had a few of those so far, haven't we?
See what this one's all about. force them to repunt. If it goes against the Knights and the Red Hawks accept the penalty and back the Knights up, that may be the case here.
Yeah, we're not sure what the penalty is on this, and it's a personal foul.
Personal foul against the Red Hawks.
Roughing the kicker, maybe? It's thrown in the area of roughing the kicker. And it looks like they're
going to give a first down to the Knights. It was 4th and 13.
If it's a roughing the kicker, it should. Roughing the kicker, I believe, is an automatic first down.
Yeah.
So that keeps the drive alive for Southern Virginia.
And suddenly you're thinking, let's get on the scoreboard before halftime.
Yeah, that's a big change.
Not to mention it pulls the ball a little closer to the Red Hawks end zone. And they still have 1:30 on the clock to work with. So a huge break for the Knights, and they've got the ball at the 38-yard line of the Red Hawks after that big penalty. The Red Hawks have had not too many mistakes in this first half, but they have had a lot of problems with penalties.
They've had problems at critical times, too. And this just the most recent example of that.
Here comes a blitz. Rex Winslow rolling away from the blitz, fires, and overthrows his receiver. And he got rid of that ball just at the right time because the blitz from the right side was about to cream him from the backside.
Yeah, backside pressure has been the name of the game so far for this Red Hawk defense. And the Knights quarterback's fortunate to avoid it several times today.
Knights have really not been able to establish the ground game so far in this first half. That's hurt. And, of course, right now with only 1:25 to go to halftime, and you're 38 yards away from the end zone, not really thinking about the ground game. Hoping for a big pass completion. Winslow, the left-hander, fires. That time he threw it behind the receiver. He was trying to hit Chris Harper, and that ball was behind him, incomplete. Now 3rd and 10 coming up for the Knights.
Yeah, and the Knights may unfortunately end up squandering that big break that they had from that penalty. Still a chance here on 3rd if they can pick some up, and I'd say with 1:22, this is probably 4-down territory for them as well, because if you get it, if you end up getting the first down and keep the drive alive, great. But if you don't, it's still not a big difference, especially with the amount of time left to give the Red Hawks a chance to get down the field.
That being the case, you don't need all 10 yards here then. We'll see what they do as far as the short pass might be concerned. Winslow dropping to throw. He's got time. He's going to. He did. His time ran out.
Yes.
That pocket really collapsed on Rex.
Yes, it did. Some big bodies in on him very quickly there.
Looked like when he was dropping back, he had time, but then he stepped up, and he stepped right up into those 2 or 3 Red Hawk defenders. And now it looks like Montclair is going to burn a timeout. Who knows? They may be coming after the punt here with the ball at the 47-yard line. Still 1:17 on the clock. It'll be interesting to see for the Red Hawks what they do, whether they come after the punter or set up for the return with a 14-point lead. So the ball ran out at the 47-yard line of Montclair. And again, the Red Hawks are on top here, 14-0. 4 first-half turnovers, hurting the Knights in this first half of action. And the Red Hawks have a couple of touchdowns, including both touchdowns turned in by the running back, Denzel Nieves. Here comes the punt by the Knights. Looks like maybe Montclair setting up for the return. That ball is caught at the 10 and returned to the 15. That's all. Good downfield coverage by that Knights special teams, limiting that return on the punt to just about 4 or 5 yards. So 1:12 left on the clock, and Montclair with a 14-point lead has its offense back on the field. So the ball at the 15-yard line right now here for the Red Hawks. See if Montclair plays it safe and just tries to run the clock out or takes a shot downfield. Looks like Davies is going to throw a short pattern, but the Knights are all over that one and stop it back at the 10-yard line for about a 5-yard loss. Knights were anticipating that short pass play, and they knocked down the receiver for a huge loss back at the 10-yard line. It's almost a loss of 5. Now it looks like the Red Hawks, after that pass play, are content to let the clock run here. 45 seconds left till halftime. 14-0. Montclair on top. And stay tuned for our halftime show. Art will have plenty of interviews. It's going to be a quarterback draw this time, and Davies, the quarterback, gets upfield across the 17. The ball came loose, and the Knights recover the fumble by the quarterback with just 28 seconds left on the clock. Matt Gregory with the fumble recovery, and the Knights are in business. They've got 28 seconds to work with. Already you can think about a field goal, but they obviously would love to get this ball in the end zone before halftime, as Ryan Davies, the quarterback, on a quarterback draw, took a hit, the ball popped loose, and the Knights have the football. So let's see if Southern Virginia can take advantage of the first Montclair turnover of this first half of action and get this ball into the end zone. Mitch Stevenson going to come back out at quarterback. Jerry Washington will join him in the backfield as a running back. Ball is at the 20-yard line after the fumble recovery by the Knights. And Mitch Stevenson rolls, looks, fires into the end zone. It is caught for a touchdown. That was Chris Harper making the grab in the end zone. What a catch by Chris Harper as he took a shot after he caught the ball, and Mitch Stevenson floated that ball perfectly. And Southern Virginia's first score today comes with 22 seconds left on the clock, right before halftime. So that fumble recovery by Gregory, and then Mitch Stevenson throwing the ball into the end zone for Chris Harper, and the Knights score to make it 14-6 with 22.6 seconds left on the clock. And now the Knights will go for two, and they get it into the end zone for a two-point conversion. Into the end zone for a two-point conversion to make it 14-8, and suddenly the momentum has shifted back to Southern Virginia. Sean Honeycutt making the play there with just 22 seconds left on the clock. What a big turn of events here. Southern Virginia trailed 14-0. Montclair had a chance to run the clock out. Davies, the quarterback, on a quarterback draw, fumbles the football. Gregory with the fumble recovery. And then Stevenson hits Harper for a touchdown, and then the two-point conversion, and suddenly the Knights are only down by 6 here at homecoming. So 14-8 is now the score. Montclair, which has had its way in this first half due to Southern Virginia turnovers and field position. Well, they've only got 2 scores on the board. The Knights defense has been able to hold on numerous occasions. And now Montclair's first turnover of the football game leads to a Southern Virginia touchdown and a two-point conversion. And now the Knights are only down by 6 as we close in on halftime. And now the Knights are getting ready to kick off. Kieran Phelps getting ready to kick off from the 35-yard line. Montclair, just in case, looking for maybe an onside kick, but the Knights will kick it relatively deep. Down to the 20-yard line, returned by Robinson, and he goes down right away. There's a flag down. Nick Watterson with the downfield coverage. Watterson, a freshman from Logan, Utah. Got a penalty flag down. Good downfield coverage by that kickoff return team for the Knights. Let's see what the penalty is all about. It's going to go against Southern Virginia. 18 seconds on the clock. And the Knights get the penalty, so that'll move the football a little further towards the Southern Virginia goal. Art, a big turn of events. The fumble by the quarterback Davies, the recover by Matt Gregory, and then the 20-yard touchdown pass from Stevenson to Harper, and then the two-point conversion, and suddenly it's a 6-point ball game.
This is life being breathed into Southern Virginia. Again, we have to remember, it was 14-0. I believe it was 5 minutes into this game. Would have been so easy for the Knights to buckle and phone it in, but they have not. They've stuck around and are now 6 points down just now before the half.
From the 40-yard line, it looks like they're going to air it down deep. There's a man out there, and he makes the catch for a touchdown. Oh, boy. 60-yard touchdown reception by Montclair.
As soon as I say they're going to go into the half down by 6, it changes. So that definitely hurts, but I don't think that hurts nearly as much as that score helps the Knights.
Aaron Williams found daylight down the left sideline, and the quarterback hit him in stride. And the Knights were not expecting that long ball right before halftime, and they get burned on it. And now it's suddenly 20-8 Montclair.
Well, Montclair has been playing, as I said earlier, a little more timidly recently, not really looking to push it, but now they have.
And the extra point on its way, up and good, and Montclair suddenly is back on top here, 21-8 by 13 points, with just 10 seconds left till halftime.
Well, be that as it may, I still think it's much better for the Knights to go down into the half down by 13 than it is to go down by 14 having not scored.
Although the Knights I was flabbergasted that they took that shot downfield, but then again, perhaps the coaches for Montclair thought, well, we took a run and they fumbled the football, and maybe they won't be expecting the long ball, and that was apparently the case.
Yeah, well, and the other perspective for them is why not? If you throw it that far down the field,
True
it's
enough.
picked off, you only give them 10 seconds.
Nothing to lose, really.
Yeah, they'll probably take a knee, really just kind of a misplay by the Knights to not expect that, considering there was really no downside for Montclair to take that.
So even though the Knights were able to get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion and start to build some momentum, now Montclair with that touchdown will take a little bit of momentum back into their locker room at halftime. And 13-point lead right now, just 10 seconds to go.
It's been a big chess match so far in this game. Certainly Montclair with the early advantage, but since then it's been back and forth, and the Knights certainly with that score and then the response by Montclair, it'll be interesting to see which team it affects more positively.
And the kickoff down the field, fielded by the Knights. It's going to be Kyler Harris scrambling to get the ball at the 10-yard line, brings it back upfield to the 15, and Kyler got to the 20 before he's knocked out of bounds around the 22-yard line with just 5 seconds left.
Well, the squib kick that time just to prevent the big return. Again, the Knights' special teams has been a highlight for them this year, and wanting to prevent that. My guess is at this point the Knights are just going to take a knee, go into the halftime as they are. But again, they could still go for the shot. It's certainly the option that paid off for the Redhawks just momentarily ago. But the formation definitely lends itself. Yeah.
Yep, there's the knee by Stevenson, and we are at halftime. 21-8, Montclair by 13 at half.
So with that, we're actually going to cut away. We've got Don Harsh with us. He's going to be doing a sideline report with us here in just a minute. He's going to get Coach Jason Walker for a couple of questions to get his thoughts for on the first half. We'll grab him here in just a second. Big shift in momentum, though, both ways, winding down there to the end. It'll be interesting to see his thoughts on how that developed.
Yeah, obviously you're talking about a couple of different things there, Art. The fumble recovery, the touchdown pass. And by the way, getting back to that touchdown pass by Mitch Stevenson, he threw it right on the money to Chris Harper. Harper took a lick and got the touchdown. Then they go for the 2-point conversion. That is successful. And then, of course, Montclair with a 60-yard touchdown pass right before halftime to re-up that lead to 13 points.
Well, and I'll tell you, I thought it was going to be interesting to hear what Coach Walker thought at the half, but he's clearly got enough on his mind. He's focused on getting to that. So he actually ran off it before we got an interview with him. So we'll have to get with him after that.
Well, the one thing I'm sure he wants to counteract, I guess, in the second half would be reduce those turnovers. 4 first-half turnovers for the Knights. And again, it's a 13-point lead for Montclair, but as we've talked repeatedly in this first half, it could be much, much worse if Montclair takes advantage of some of those turnovers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the turnovers, and it's also capitalizing on big plays when opportunities come, something else the Knights have struggled with just a little bit. So we'll see what they do coming out here in the second half. We're going to break away here for just a minute. We'll be back with the halftime performance by the Southern Virginia Cheerleaders and Dance Company here in just a minute. Southern Virginia Dance Company and cheerleaders, their performance going on here. Meanwhile, we've got senior women athletic administrator and head women's tennis coach here, Deidre Dryden in the booth. Thanks for joining us, Deidre.
Oh, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit about Southern Virginia's cheerleading squad and while we're watching their performance here?
Oh, yeah. It's been a really nice collaboration between the cheer team and the dance team. This project has taken them well over 30 hours just for the routine. It's been a really nice collaboration between Sarah Hansen, cheer coach, and April Harris, cheer coach, and actually Nikel O'Grady, the dance company captain. They've worked really hard on the choreography. And kind of an interesting story here is Bailey Rusick, one of the dancers, was injured really badly a few nights ago, and they asked Coach April Harris to jump in there, and there she is, I believe.
We won't give her number. We'll let the folks at home try to figure out which one she is.
Yeah, it just made sense. She knew the whole routine, and they would have had to make a lot of changes. So Coach Hansen worked really hard on the stunts, and the choreography was Coach Harris and Nikel.
Yeah, good to see both the cheerleaders and dance company. Hopefully it's not even too clear which is which, as both are kind of participating in both portions of it.
It's so exciting to see this. I tell you, this is a great bunch of girls. They are really just ambassadors for the university. They do so many other things besides cheer and dance. They get called on for service, for community outreach. They're just a good group of girls.
Well, and I'm sure that's going to become even more the case as we move into Division III now and all of that. You were actually instrumental in the university's transition from the NAIA to NCAA Division III. Can you tell us your feelings on that, about why D3 is the right fit for SVU and a little bit of the process?
Well, there are a few practical reasons. One of the practical reasons, there is 18 NCAA Division III universities just in Virginia alone. There were 2 NAIAs, and so just common sense, it was a better fit budget-wise. But more importantly, it fits our university and who we are, where we truly believe education comes first. And we also believe that athletics is really an academic experience, that these kids learn a ton participating in a team. And Division III is just right what our board set up for this university, to the direction we wanted to head. So I'm super proud of it. I really am.
Well, we certainly appreciate your efforts in making that transition happen as well. And now entering D3, joining the Capital Athletic Conference. That's a difficult conference as well, competitively as far as the athletic side. Can you talk a little bit about what it'll be like for our different programs competing in that?
It's very competitive, as you said. It's the conference has been tremendous. We are really grateful to be a part of that conference. The fantastic thing about the Capital Athletic Conference is that if we get to the top of that conference, we literally are at the top in the nation. The CAC conference has had multiple national champions year after year after year. We have our measure right there. We just got to work hard to get to the top.
Well, and we'll see if we can do that in the different programs going forward. Again, great routine from the Southern Virginia cheerleaders and dance company. Deidre, thanks for joining us on the broadcast. We're going to break away for a commercial here for just a minute or two, and then we're going to come back in just a minute with a broadcast interview with President Reed Wilcox and his wife Diane. We'll be back here in just a minute.
All right.
I'm Art Furler here with recently appointed President Wilcox and his wife Diane. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today. Your thoughts on the first half, President?
A lot of the first half was great. This is a very tough team. Our guys did very well. I think that that touchdown right near the end of the first half was fantastic. And one play, and this would be a very different game, but they're doing well.
Yeah, big shift in momentum there. Hopefully we can capitalize on that going on to the second. And Sister Wilcox, your thoughts. How are you enjoying your first homecoming here at SVU?
This is just fantastic to be here. And this is the first game that we've had here on this beautiful field. And the setting is so beautiful, and the rain has stopped, and there's such a great school spirit here. So we're thrilled to be here, and I think everyone feels the same way. That couldn't be better.
Agreed. We're looking forward to having you here for many more. Couple other quick things. First of all, a lot of our listeners are meeting you guys for the first time. We want to get to know you guys a little bit better. Can you tell us a little bit how you met, a little bit about your family?
We met in school. We were both at BYU. I had been to UCLA before that, but we met at BYU after my mission, and it was about 7, 8, 9, 10 years before we were able to have our first children. So our kids we're old people with young children. We have 4 kids. We have 2 girls and 2 boys. Our girls are in California, our boys are in Utah, and one of them we're recruiting to come out and visit next week.
Glad to hear that. And so you're in favor of dating folks at college, dating around for you folks out there that are not dating?
We're in favor of dating anytime.
Outstanding. And can you tell us a little bit about your respective academic backgrounds as well, Sister Wilcox?
Well, Reed and I both love learning. We love education, and we both, well, do you want to talk about yours? I'll talk about mine. All right. Anyway, we both, I did training undergraduate with kids with special needs and learning disabilities, different learning styles, what they'd call now a mind at a time, how we all learn differently. So I did that, and was also able to get a master's degree in that, and then I did some graduate work at Northwestern after that. But that's my love and interest, is working with kids with special needs.
Wonderful. President Wilcox, a little bit from you as well?
Yeah, and what Diane didn't say is she started a PhD at Northwestern and is still on a leave of absence, which she took when our first daughter Rachel was born. But Rachel's now in law school, so she may not finish that for a while. I went to UCLA, then BYU, and did economics at BYU, and then we're in Cambridge for 4 years at Harvard Law School and Harvard Business School.
Wonderful. Another thing of interest, you presided over the France, Marseille, and Toulouse missions for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. What is it about that helped you enjoy working with young people?
Oh, we love kids. That's the age of our boys and our girls, and we had 600 outstanding missionaries, and we sent a lot of young men and young women on missions from France while we were there, because we had a big district that we presided over. But we love young people, and it helps us be young and happy. And we even like old guys like you, Art.
So somewhere between young and old, I'm somewhere in that mix. So I'm also curious, what was it that drew you guys to Southern Virginia University? We'll give that one to you, Sister Wilcox.
Well, I don't know where to begin. There's so many great things about this university. So we have heard wonderful things about this university for a really long time. And the outstanding faculty, the volunteers, the incredible professional staff, and then the students are just over the top. I mean, when you come here, the sum total of all of those things, it really is, it's like magic. And we were so thrilled the first time we came here. We couldn't get over how it felt, and it just gets better and better every day. So we're really honored to be here.
I have to say, there's no place like this. It is phenomenal that there's such a great atmosphere of caring here. The faculty and the students care about each other more than any place I've ever seen, and that translates into exceptional performance in the classroom. It translates into an enormous percentage of the student body who are involved in NCAA level athletics, who are in tremendous arts programs. This is an amazing place. I don't know anything like this.
Wonderful. I certainly agree with you. I've been here for a long time myself, and echo everything you guys are saying on that. And you guys haven't even been here that long yet. You've now been president and first lady for
We've been here a month.
Yeah, for just about a month now. What has impressed you most? Lots of good things. What has impressed you most so far here?
Absolutely, the people. No question. It's the faculty, the professional staff like you, Art, and all the great people we work with here, but the students are phenomenal. There is a great spirit here, and there are great people here. Unquestionably, it's people.
Well, I think you'll fit right in with those people as well and become a part of that blessing. Finally, to those young people listening at home who are currently making plans for college, in your opinion, why should someone consider coming to Southern Virginia University? And we'll give that one to both of you. We'll start with you, Sister.
Well, I think there's so many reasons to consider coming to Southern Virginia University. It's an incredible place. The people here are absolutely wonderful, caring individuals. Everybody's here trying to help everybody else, so it's really tremendous. And I think that the advantage of being in a small student body with all the one-on-one care that you get on every level. There's so many levels of people watching over and helping and looking out for you here. I could really say that nobody falls through the cracks here, and it's just a tremendous place. And I think anyone thinking about wanting to have a really unusual and great college experience should take a very serious look at Southern Virginia University.
President?
Yeah, I think this is a place that has the ability to meet any student anywhere they are and lift them and make them better. I think it'll make students who have struggled in high school be able to become good students and successful. I think it'll take great students from high school and they can go to the top. And there's no limit to where they can go from here. We're just talking, we have met people who have left here who are doing almost everything in the world. One of our daughter's classmates at Stanford Law School just graduated from here last year. This is a place that lifts everybody.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. We've got to go. We'll get back to the game here in just a minute and a half. Once again, President and Sister Wilcox, thank you for joining us. We'll be back here in just a minute with the second half. Welcome back to the second half. We're just about to get underway. The Southern Virginia Knights and the Montclair Red Hawks. The Knights trailing 21-8. It looked like it could have been a lot worse for a while there. The Knights trailing 14-0 just a few minutes into the game, but able to come together and defend well, get that score and the 2-point conversion just before the half. Unfortunately, then gave up a quick touchdown back to Montclair, but still looks like, in general, things moving a little bit at a time in the direction of the Knights.
That's right, Art. And Montclair, of course, will get the ball to begin play in the second half. That last couple of minutes, just a wild swing of emotion. Montclair comfortably in front, 14-0. Then they cough up the football. Then Stevenson hits Harper with a touchdown pass, a 2-point conversion. Seemingly, it looks like Southern Virginia is going to go into the locker room at halftime only down by 6. And then that 60-yard touchdown pass by Montclair, shocking the Knights. And 13-point ball game at halftime as we get ready to start the second half.
Well, we'll see if the Knights are able to come up big on defense, get a good stop, and keep that momentum going into this second half. We'll, except for, of course, the little lapse there. We'll see how much that impacts them. Before we get underway, I had a second here to actually see Bubba Eisenhower, have a quick chat with him, and he wanted us to give a shout-out to his dad, Bruce Eisenhower, and his mom, Laurie. Bruce apparently just had his 50th birthday yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So happy birthday to Bruce as we get underway.
And it'll be the Redhawks returning this kickoff. Nice return by the return man, Robinson, who got across the 37. He looks like he lost a football. The Knights say they've got it. It all is a matter of whether the refs are going to rule fumble or not. No signal from the referees, and apparently they're going to say he was down.
Yeah, not hearing a big cheer from the crowd, which you expect to hear at that point if the Knights were to come up with it.
I would imagine a few players would like to say hi to their parents.
Yeah, that's true. Turns out I just happen to know Bubba, so...
And I saw Steven Andreasen, who played, 4 or 5 years ago here for the Knights. Good running back a few years ago. He was a part of the punt, pass, and kick competition at halftime.
Yeah, a lot of fun going on there as well.
Well, there's Nieves again, the running back. Nowhere to go. Stephen Scott was the one who forced him back inside, and then 2 or 3 Knights defenders shut him down for essentially no gain.
And speaking of Bubba Eisenhower, he got in on the action that time, ultimately ended up getting the tackle, but definitely a group effort by the Knights, piling on, getting everyone around together to make the Redhawks running back reverse his field, really eventually not find anywhere to go, and finally succumb to the pressure.
Second half keys, Art, for the Knights. Again, obviously, first and foremost, stop the Redhawks and get the ball back for the offense, but cut down on those turnovers in the second half. And I think the Knights would have a good shot at it, but there goes the running back Nieves with a big gainer over the left side, and he is all the way down to the Knights' 40-yard line.
Yeah, he is so fast. You just look at those legs churning, and he breaks down very, very quickly as well.
Shifty, too, isn't he?
Yeah, but breaks down quickly, changes direction, cuts on a dime. He juked a couple of defenders there who looked like they had him. The Knights are really going to have to form tackle, break down with him as well, slow down, change direction, stay centered on his hips, and wrap him up, because he's definitely shown the ability to break away from arm tackles.
Well, now we know why Jason Walker, the coach of the Knights, talked about Montclair being one of the top-tier teams this year in the New Jersey Athletic Conference. They have played a good, solid ball game for the most part, except for having a problem with penalties.
It's true.
There goes Nieves again, and he's got almost 10 yards on that game.
Yeah, he's finding holes so far. The Knights defense just a little slow to adapt to the holes being poked by the Montclair offensive line.
Hard to believe this is the halfway point of this 2014 season. After this homecoming game today, Art, only 5 games left on the schedule.
It is hard to believe, mainly because the Knights have been away so much. Homecoming, as we mentioned, the first of a series of true home games. So half the season's gone before, frankly, before the Knights get to see their team a whole lot.
2nd and 2. Nieves again up the middle. He's got a first down. He breaks a couple of tackles, gets inside the 20, and he's down around the 19-yard line. Yeah, boy, he is hard to bring down.
He really is, and especially because he's so low to the ground, he actually gets a bit of an advantage there. You can tell the big-bodied offensive lineman kind of shielding him a little bit. It's tough to see where he's initially making that first cut. And that makes to give you less time to adapt as defensive lineman to know where you're going.
This is not the way the Knights coaching staff wanted to get the second half underway. A potential Montclair touchdown that would give them possibly a 20-point lead as they give it to Nieves again up the middle. Shifts. There's a flag
coming in.
You would think that would be a holding call coming from the middle of the field like that.
Yeah, the location of it, also the timing of it makes sense there. On run plays, there's not a whole lot of other penalties that there can be. You get away with things, or you do away with penalties that deal with receivers and men downfield and interferences and stuff.
Knights have had 4 turnovers today. Montclair has just the 1 turnover. Montclair's had a lot of penalties, though, but outside of that, they played almost a perfect ball game. And, of course, they've been the beneficiary of those turnovers and good field position for most of the ball game.
It's true that the call on that one is holding on the Redhawks. It'll be interesting to see that the Redhawks have definitely been able to overcome some of their penalties despite making it first and long, second and long. So far in this game, the Knights given an opportunity again. They have to capitalize on this and stop the first down.
1st and 20. Redhawks, let's see if they run the football. Play it safe. Nieves hit from behind, dragged down for a big loss.
Dragged down.
Englert again.
Zach Englert read that one from the jump, got in the backfield and blew it up. The loss of yards is helpful. The loss of down even more
big smile
helpful.
on his face, huh?
Yeah. And if he was the one, if I believe down on this end originally, that didn't give up on that kickoff return after he got blocked out of it, able to come back from behind, and because the running or the return man had to slow down and change directions, he was able to come up on that play as well, and potentially almost the fumble.
Now 2nd and 22, ball at the 32, and the Redhawks have to get to around the 10 to get a first down. And the quarterback, Davies, fires to a wide open man in the middle of the field. That's Conley, and he gets to the 21-yard line.
Yeah, a little bit again of that bend not break. The Knights wanting to not give up the big play, so they're willing to let the receivers underneath make catches as long as they don't get behind them. That one bending perhaps a little bit too much, though. He'll be spotted, looks like 3rd and about 14. That's still a pretty good situation for the Knights.
And you talked about this earlier in the ball game. The Knights or the Redhawks have a pretty good field goal kicker, or pretty good place kicker, so they may be setting up for the field goal here. We'll see.
Well, they do, especially since the Knights went for 2. A field goal would make it a 3-possession game at this point.
Quarterback Davies wants to fire. Looks upfield, has time, fires across the middle. Incomplete. Good defense by the Knights secondary.
Yeah, and once again, I'm happy to see the Knights secondary stepping up and deflecting it, preventing the catch. But it's also good to see Coulter Evans back there not content with that. He feels like he should have come up with that one, wanted to get the interception. So good to see that they're happy with what they're doing, but still looking to do more.
Well, Coulter Evans, tremendous player, always among the tops in tackles.
Yeah,
each and every game.
He's a big leader in the locker room too. It's interesting if you know him. He's not a particularly loud or vocal guy, but when he needs to be on the field with his team, he is.
40-yard field goal attempt. Here's the kick. On its way. Up, and it is no good. A big miss, and the Knights remain only down by 13 in this football game.
Well, that is a big, big stop. The Knights certainly, it looked for a while there like that drive was going down. As you mentioned, not what the coaching staff would have wanted to open up by letting the Redhawks drive down the field. It would have been a victory for them, in my opinion, for them to have held them to only a field goal. But to have them miss the field goal and and ultimately hold them scoreless on that drive, even better.
And Art, the big play on that drive was that holding penalty, because it really pushed the Knights or the Redhawks back further. Otherwise, they may be knocking on the door for a touchdown. But that penalty really derailed that drive, and now the Knights take over around the 22-yard line.
It's true. The penalty was big to set up 1st and 20, but the Knights were able to hold it after that as well. And that's going to be a false start.
They had Kyler Harris in motion. Not sure if that was going to be a reverse or not. Now the Knights get a penalty.
Mitch Stevenson back in. We mentioned earlier he was subbed out for Rex Winslow for a little bit, but we were wondering who would start this half. Of course, we saw him before the half after the fumble as well, but Mitch Stevenson back in the lineup for Southern Virginia.
Mitch had 3 first-half interceptions, a first half I'm sure he'd like to forget, although he had the big touchdown pass to Chris Harper right before halftime. 1st and 15 for now for the Knights.
A difficult position for them now. They just put the 1st and 20 for the Redhawks, but now they're at 1st and 15 themselves, so playing it safe and taking the run up the middle. But
Jerry Washington had nowhere to go.
Not a big result on that one.
Jerry Washington, no gain. We've talked about it throughout the ball game. It seems like in many cases Montclair right on top of each play, whether it be a running play or a pass play for the Knights, like they are in the Knights locker room designing the plays themselves, the defense.
It's true. The Knights, even when they have been able to break big plays, it's been despite coverage or despite early contact.
Stevenson wants to fire downfield, throws on the run, got his receiver at the 23-yard line.
That was a phenomenal catch. It is so difficult, especially when you're breaking on an out route like that, to make a quick adjustment. Angel Medina able to make that cut.
I think it was Kyler. Kyler made that catch and came up a little lame afterwards, had to cobble off the field.
Oh, my apologies. But
you're right. He made a nice play on the ball.
Yeah, to make that cut and immediately then reach down and grab it from your feet there. Difficult catch to make, to catch it, pull it in, especially with immediate contact and hold on to it.
Art, how big is this play now coming up? 3rd and 10. And the play clock here is down to 4 already.
Yeah, they're going to have to get this off very quickly, and
I don't think they do.
Nope.
That's going to be a delay game. That's going to make it 3rd and about 16 to go now.
Yeah, it was a difficult situation at 3rd and 11. It's a very difficult situation at 3rd and 16. Of course, you'd love to see him pick up the first down. They're going to have to dial something up big here.
Almost looked like they weren't aware that play clock was sliding down.
Yeah, there didn't seem to be a big sense of urgency on the side of the offense. They were kind of taking their time on that one. You're right, probably just a lack of awareness.
3rd and 16. We'll see what Mitch Stevenson can ring up here. Blitz coming. Fires upfield. Intercepted. And that's the 4th interception. And it's going to be taken back for a touchdown, it looks like. They're going to say maybe he stepped out of bounds, the defender at the 2-yard line, but it's 1st and goal for the Red Hawks.
Well, and that's at least the second interception by the same man on the Red Hawks squad. And he was
Eric Gargilio.
Yep, and he made the one to start off the first half as well. He was the one that had the deflection right down here at the 30, and then again thrown right to him. That one, again, unfortunately by Stevenson, thrown pretty well directly to him.
Yeah, that looked like possibly he might have been going for Carroll, the tight end, but he sailed that ball and it went right into the hands of the defender. That's 4 interceptions now at 5 turnovers for the Knights.
Tough.
That's hard to overcome.
Yeah, tough to win ball games when you're down 5 when you give up 5. I guess they've had a couple back too.
Nieves,
great stop.
Yeah, Nieves breaks a tackle in the backfield, but then goes down. Coulter Evans, I think, was the first one to hit him.
Matthew Gregory was the second.
Drag him down to the 8-yard line for about a 6-yard loss. It would be huge here for the Knights to hold these guys out of the end zone.
Oh, it would be huge. It's very difficult, though, considering the position that they're in. They are able to get a loss on that one, though. And, again, the Southern Virginia defense really holding strong. They had a couple of breakdowns, got shell-shocked a little bit early in the game, but since then have done a very, very good job.
Ball's back around the 8-yard line. Let's see if they go right back to Nieves or throw the football. And Davies wants to throw. He's got a man wide open for a touchdown.
Yep, just the quick out route. The Knights not expecting that, haven't seen it yet from the Red Hawks today. Smart play calling by the Red Hawks to dial that one up and able to put it in the end zone.
That was the fullback coming out of the backfield, Ligori, making the catch and going in for an easy score to make it 27-8. Well, as we talked about a few seconds ago, Art, it's tough to really offset all these Knights turnovers, especially when you consider the fact that a lot of these turnovers have led to possession of the ball by Montclair deep in SVU territory.
Yeah, turnovers are bad. Turnovers, when you give up field position like that, are so much worse. And it's really been a lot to ask of the defense for the Knights to deal with as well. And I really feel like they've dealt with it as well as you could expect. But unfortunately, still now at this point down 28-8, and the offense is going to have to get it churning pretty soon.
Biggest deficit of the ball game stirring right now at the Knights, 20-point deficit. They've got time to work with. 8:07 to go third quarter. The entire fourth quarter is still to go. So you got 23 minutes plus to work with, but you're down by 20 now.
Yeah, it is a lot of time. There's and a lot can change very quickly, as we saw at the end of the first half. 2 scores within the last minute of play. So there are definitely opportunities for the Knights to put something together. But as that time winds on farther and farther, those doors close more and more.
Knights obviously have never really had a chance to establish the running game today, and they've been playing from behind for most of the contest, and that has led to the passing, and that has also led to 4 interceptions for Mitch Stevenson today. 1 touchdown pass, 4 INTs.
Well, difficult to overcome as an offense when your quarterback is having a tough day, and that's definitely what's going on with Mitch today.
And here's the kickoff return by the Knights, up to around the 26, 27-yard line or so.
Special teams still...
Another flag, it looks like.
Yeah, special teams still a bright spot, and you can tell some emotion, a little bit of chippiness coming together on the end of that play. We'll see.
Needless to say, these two teams meeting for the first time ever. The Knights have only run into a New Jersey Athletic Conference team one other time last year in obviously an unofficial non-conference game, the College of New Jersey. And it's going to be Knights taking over, getting ready to get the football, but trailing now by 20 points. Don't have to panic just yet. They've got the entire fourth quarter to go, but you really could use some points on this drive.
It's true. I think the differentiation there, you don't need to panic, but you do need a sense of urgency. You do need to know what you need to get done, and right now you just need to establish a drive.
All right, so we'll start this drive at the 16-yard line. Todd Workman's going to get the carry, but he's run out of bounds, and he's going to lose yardage, about a yard or two. And again, a good job by that Redhawks defense stringing that play out like they knew it was coming.
Yep, they really have so far been able to really evaluate quickly the looks that the Knights have given them and establish what they think the play is going to be and roll with that very well.
I'll tell you, one guy they've taken away today is Michael Carroll. Really, I'm not sure they've thrown to him today. And, of course, he was a huge player a few weeks back on September the 20th at Salem in that Guilford ball game.
He was. He had a couple of big ones, if I recall, last week against Kane as well. But you're right. He's been a non-factor so far today.
Stevenson shotgun, wanting to fire. Looks upfield, has time, running out of room, and he just simply throws it away.
Yeah, and while he had to throw that one away, that's a bad situation, but at least it didn't look like the pressure was as bad as it was before. The pocket didn't collapse. There wasn't a major threat of a sack, so it was a great job by the offensive line to buy him time, but an equally great job of the Redhawks secondary to not give him any options.
Now it is 3rd and 10, and not a whole lot of choices here for the Knights. They're going to have to look downfield and get a big pass completion to hold on to the football.
Yeah, your only option to that that the Knights have had some success with tonight is the draw play to hopefully crack a big one to 10, but we'll have to see.
See if Stevenson can make a connection, maybe with Kyler Harris. He fires out there, has Harris at the 30-yard line or so.
And is it enough for a first down is the question.
Should be. Yep, first down for the Knights. Kyler Harris with a nice spin move to get that football and get the first down reception.
Yeah, Harris has had a great game. He is a big-time receiver. When the Knights need a man to make a play on the offensive side of the ball, he has been it today.
And even better news, he's only a junior coming back after this season as the next pass is incomplete.
Yeah, that one just right off the hands of Michael Gehring. You got to wonder, even though the rain has stopped, it has rained pretty solid for the last 2 or 3 days out here. So the field is wet, the ball, of course, getting wet. Gets real slippery real quick, especially when you put a lot of heat on that short slant pattern.
Now 2nd and 10 at the 27-yard line for the Knights. They go on the road next Saturday, on the road at Cortland. A lengthy road trip. Might be the longest road trip I would imagine in the New Jersey Athletic Conference. As a quick pass over to the left this time. We're pulled in, and a nice move by the receiver to get up the sidelines all the way to midfield.
Great job that time making the tackler miss and getting past the sticks.
Again.
Get the first down. And great to see that from him as well.
That was all after the catch, too.
Yeah, and considering that last one slipped through his hands, didn't let that get to him, but immediately comes back. Next play, gets a big play and gets the Knights first down.
They mark him out at the 46. Back to the pass. Stevenson looks right, fires back to the left, and incomplete. No one really out there. He was trying for Killstrom around the 30.
Yep, and not a bad attempt to go to Killstrom, the pass high, but he had pressure bearing down on him as well. Looked like he decided at that point to throw it away.
2nd and 10 for the Knights. 46-yard line is the situation right now for Southern Virginia. They trail by 20 here in the third quarter.
6:47 here. It's as you mentioned, good time to get a drive going.
Stevenson's got time.
Goes
Fires
deep.
upfield for Killstrom again.
And that
is intercepted again by the same man, and that's the 5th interception by Mitch Stevenson, and at least the 3rd interception by the free safety, Gargulio.
And every time Gargulio is just where he needs to be. He hasn't the first couple looked to be pretty well right to him, and that one at least was near a Southern Virginia player as well. But he just right there in coverage, not even having to move too much to get to that one.
He was looking for Killstrom, but he was also throwing Art in the double coverage because the Slady Gargulio, the safety, slid over.
Yep, he was the back man.
So it's now the Redhawks football around the 25-yard line.
Well, it does move them. They don't have great field position, so as we mentioned, turnovers are bad, but at least it's not terrible.
Tariq Turner, the backup running back, gets a good gain over the left side for about 6. Matt Gregory coming up to make the stop. Turner picked up about 6, and this is probably exactly what the Redhawks want to do now with a 20-point lead. Really turn to Turner and, of course, Nieves, their top 2 running backs, and try to hold the ball and run the clock down.
Well, they've shown a lot of respect to the Knights, particularly in the end of the first half, recognizing their threat. And so, yeah, I would expect at this point to kind of rest on the laurels a little bit and, as you mentioned, just keep it on the ground. That doesn't mean they can't crack big plays with that.
Or take a shot downfield, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is you can really kind of lull the secondary in a bit by running it up the middle, running it up the side, and then just as the secondary's thinking they're not going to throw it, trying a big one.
Turner got about 9 yards on that carry to the 40, so it's another first down for the Redhawks. Rick Turner staying back in there as the running back. With the fullback in front, and Davies to throw. He is pressured. He got away from the defender. A little toss pass to Turner, and he's hit off his feet for a short gain of about a yard. I think Stephen Scott was one of them up there to knock him down after about a yard reception.
Yep, ends up having to throw to his hot read out of the backfield. Great job by the secondary again. There was a lot of time that he had to sit back there in the pocket, but the Knights able to cover him up well enough that he ended up having to throw into just out of the backfield. Stephen
Scott, too, and this guy was a running back a couple of years ago, and now he's making all these performances on defense for the Knights.
Well, and Bubba Eisenhower mentioning earlier,
Yep.
a quarterback before, now playing defensive end.
There's a short gain for the running play for about maybe 2 yards that time by Turner, got up to the 43-yard line.
Boy, I should mention Bubba's name more often. Every time I do, he ends up in on a tackle. Ends up putting a hurt on somebody.
And Englert also there, too. He's had a pretty good ball game.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys have really anchored the front there. There's a really regular staff of guys for the Knights who are just coming up all over the place. Matt Gregory, another one. This nice defensive squad really knows how to apply pressure.
3rd and 8, and Davies will go to the shotgun. We'll see if he'll throw here on a 3rd and 8 at the 42-yard line.
He's got the quick slant, and he hits it.
And he's got his receiver, Robinson, but he is hit for a short gain. Maybe he actually lost a yard because he went backwards after making the reception. There is another flag down.
It's actually a guy's shoe. I thought it was a flag, too.
Okay, that's Robinson's shoe. Yeah, I was going to make mention of that earlier. He's walking around with a couple of yellow shoes. I thought, you get that confused with the flag eventually.
Yep, I thought for sure it was a flag, and then I saw someone walking with a
you would
white
think
sock
yellow
and yellow
shoes would be outlawed
Yeah.
by the referees, if nothing else.
Quick punt this time, and good one. A lot of air under it.
Almost fumbled. Almost disaster for Southern Virginia, but they will have the football, the 21-yard line, as Leviste almost lost that football.
Yeah, bobbled it, but was able to gather it. Maybe not enough to get a return, but at least enough to get it and maintain possession, because, boy, would that have been just catastrophic if it had gone the other way and he fumbled it and gave up possession.
Well, now you're thinking, if you're thinking about making a comeback with 3:45 to go into 3rd and only 15, obviously, to go into 4th, this is the time when you're down by over 2 scores that you got to really manufacture some offense here.
You really do. You're not going to get too many more possessions in this game, so you've really got to start making them count and get something out of them. Even if it's only 3, that can mean a lot momentum-wise.
Yeah, they've got Rex Winslow back in there at quarterback, but he hands off, and it's a short gain, maybe a half yard at best. It looks like Washington might get a little bit more out of that, maybe a couple. But they've replaced Mitch Stevenson with Rex Winslow, who saw some time in the first half. Mitch Stevenson really struggling today. Had the 1 touchdown pass, but also I believe has 5 interceptions now.
I think so. It's tough as a quarterback, or excuse me, as a head coach, to say, okay, you're my guy. You're the head quarterback, or you're my first-string quarterback. You're my guy. But at 5 picks, sometimes you got to say, you know what, it's not your day. We gotta provide a little bit of a change.
Gain of a yard that time by Jerry, so it's 2nd down, 9 to go. The ball at the 24-yard line of the Knights. Winslow is a left-hander. Rex is going to turn and try to keep it himself. I'm not sure if he wanted to hand that football off, and there was some confusion with Jerry Washington, but Winslow, the quarterback, ends up holding on to it and then paying the price by losing a yard maybe or so.
Yeah, just a little bit. It definitely did look like a miscommunication there, and that can happen when you put a new quarterback in. It's a difficult transition. He's your leader on the field, so to get him to immediately gel with a unit that's already been working together can be difficult.
Winslow is a sophomore from Ventura, California, 5'11", 175 pounds. And the Knights are now looking at 3rd down, 10 to go, with the ball around the 23 of the Knights.
Big 3rd down.
Winslow wants to throw. Pressured as he fires, and it's intercepted.
The same man.
That same safety. I believe he's got at least 3, maybe 4 interceptions today. This one he's bringing back. And he's still looking for some blockers.
Yeah.
Finally,
and
Kyler Harris tries to corral him.
And a flag. I think you're right. I believe that's his 4th. He's now grabbed 1 off of each quarterback. And
got to be getting into Division III record situation. Not too many guys have 4 interceptions.
Yeah. And a lot of yards.
He's just been in the right spot in the middle of the field with a lot of these passes nowhere near receivers.
Yep. That's 2 flags down as well.
That is 6 interceptions for the Knights and 7 turnovers, I believe, because they also had a fumble. Well, you can't really – it's one of those what-ifs, Art. If you take away a lot of these turnovers, we'd have a much closer ball game. But that's the situation where it also looks to me like a lot of these turnovers, Art, are basically not really forced by Montclair's defense. It's just poor choices by the Knights.
So the referee now making the call, 2 blocks in the back, both on the defense, as it were. So they're declined the first one, taking the one that's farther back and deciding to move, or that moves them farther back.
So the ball will be pushed back a little bit. It'll still be a Redhawks football. 20-point lead right now for Montclair. Just 2:16 to go, 3rd quarter. Montclair jumped out to a 14-0 lead. The Knights got their one and only score, a touchdown pass from Mitch Stevenson to Chris Harper, 20 yards to make it 14-6. They got a 2-point conversion to make it a 6-point game at 14-8. But then Montclair was able to score right before halftime, a 60-yard touchdown pass to take a 21-8 lead at halftime, and now they lead by 20 at 28-8.
Well, and once again, the Knights' defense is going to have to step up and make a play and help out their offense, which continues to struggle.
Short game. That was, I believe, Tariq Turner again on the carry. Robbins, one of those defenders there to make the stop for the Knights.
Yeah, he's another one of those guys that seems to just kind of be a ball magnet. He always ends up right where you need him. He always has a big influence on the game.
Yeah, the 3 that usually come to mind with that description would be Matt Gregory, Coulter Evans, and also Robert Roberts.
Agree.
2nd down, 8 to go here. Davies throwing again, overthrew a receiver that time.
Wow, and I thought that was going to be way high, but actually just barely off the fingertips of the receiver that time for the Redhawks. We're now under 2 minutes left here in this 3rd quarter.
going to be interesting to see how the New Jersey Athletic Conference standings transpired in the last month or so. We've seen Montclair in a couple of weeks. Next home game, they've got Morrisville, another good ball club. And then, of course, after that, on November the 1st, it'll be the Knights playing at Rowan. And Rowan is usually year in, year out, one of the tougher New Jersey Athletic Conference teams.
Yeah, definitely a powerhouse squad. Knights are going to have to come up big for that one.
Davies fires, hits his receiver at the 46, about a yard shy of the first down marker. Something else to consider today, Montclair has given its quarterback a lot of pass protection.
They have, and the Knights, typically their pass rush is pretty good. Bubba Eisenhower coming in from the outside, and as we mentioned, even Evans from the linebacker position. The Knights have been pretty good at applying pressure historically, but a lot of big bodies, a lot of talent, and you're right, all the credit in the world.
Montclair, that could have been a costly penalty. It was 4th and 3, and it looked like somebody jumped across. Now, whether they were drawn off or not, we'll see. But if that's offsides on the Knights, it's going to keep the ball in Montclair's possession.
Yeah, it looked clearly to me like there was a man that jumped from the Montclair side, but they would have stopped the play if it was a false start. So this is almost certainly going to be offsides, which, again, is just a major, major miscue.
Yeah, just too many mistakes to overcome today for the Knights when you talk about a few penalties, but mainly turnovers.
Yep.
Offsides is the call, and it's going to bring the Montclair offense back onto the field.
And those penalties just kill you because the defense felt good about that. I'm sure they got a stop. They contained the very, very impressive offense of the Red Hawks, and you think you've got the stop and you run off the field, and then because of a miscue there, they immediately come back the other way and you immediately have to go right back on the field to make the stop.
Tariq Turner will be the tailback here on this possession for Montclair, and he shakes off a tackler in the backfield. I think Sam Malore had a shot at him. He ends up picking up maybe 2 down to the 38-yard line.
Yeah, Sam Malore, another one of those key guys for the Knights defense that seems to find his way into tackles a lot.
And he's just a junior. Picked up about 3 that time.
Yeah, the Knights pretty young altogether. Perhaps not as young as they've always been or as they've been historically, but it'll definitely be a boon if they can retain more guys and get more upperclassmen as the years progress. Difficult to do that with a change of regime with Delane Fitzgerald leaving for Frostburg State and with the change over to Jason Walker.
You know, I know, Art, they've also played, some 1AA schools in the past, McNeese State and, of course, Moorhead State, but I don't think there's any question that from top to bottom, this has got to be the toughest schedule the Knights have ever had in their young football history. When you talk about the New Jersey Athletic Conference, when you're talking about a team like Wesley. So, I mean, this is a situation where the Knights have really faced a very tough schedule so far in 2014, and again, we're only about halfway through the season.
Yeah, it'll be a difficult it's tough when you have all of those things changing at once. You have your head coach changing. You have, in this case, the location of your field changing. Even though it's a good thing, it's a change. It's something you're not used to. You're upping your caliber of difficulty by joining the conference and moving to not just a higher caliber opponent, but opponents that you're not as familiar with. There's a lot of things changing all at the same time. And when you add that to the increased difficulty level of the opponents, it's a lot to deal with.
Still, even though it appears we're almost into the fourth quarter, just 12 seconds away from the fourth quarter right now, it appears that Montclair might end up winning this football game today. A lot of excitement here at the Fields at SVU for the first ever game at the Fields and for the first ever home game in the conference.
Yeah, there's still a lot to be excited about. And even if you look at the scores or the record throughout the season thus far, it's not necessarily indicative. Great job by the Knights that time, getting the stop as well, breaking that one up. But they've had some very close games. So even though they were losses, they weren't blowouts. They did have the one loss to Wesley that was pretty rough. But again, Wesley, a very, very talented team. So some of those with just one or two plays going the other direction, and the Knights would have a very different record.
Interesting conversation I had with Coach Jason Walker before that Wesley game and after as well. talking about, Wisconsin, Whitewater, Mount Union, Mary Hardin, Baylor, and Wesley. They seem to be, at least here recently, year in, year out, maybe the top 4 programs in D3. I mean, really the top 4.
Yeah, and it's so easy to recruit when you're a success and to retain when you're a success. You kind of get those regimes going where, I mean, we say the same thing in D1 athletics as well,
right, yeah.
Where you win a conference championship and it's easy to recruit. You win a national championship and it's really easy to recruit.
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, now how are we going to beat an Alabama or an LSU?
Yeah, there's just those perennial powerhouses, and so that's really what it's going to take. And Deidre Dryden mentioned it during our interview at the half with her, is as you start to climb up in your conference, particularly when you're in such a strong conference like the New Jersey Athletic Conference for football, also like the Capital Athletic Conference for the sports that were the other sports that we have at Southern Virginia, that transition, as you become the top of your conference, you become the top of the nation.
Starting the fourth quarter, 20-point lead right now for Montclair as we get this fourth quarter underway. And the Red Hawks have a 3rd and 9.
New quarterback as well, I believe.
And the pass is pulled in by the receiver across the middle. That's Robinson, Mr. Yellow Shoes Robinson, and he is off his feet about a yard or two shy of the first down marker.
Yeah, I give that belly flop like a 7.9. I think. Good.
I don't know, maybe tack on an extra 0.2 for the shoes.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, he definitely took a shot there. At the end, trying to jump up, maybe get over the defender and preserve it. But great job by the Knights to corral him and keep him down to bring up 4th, though it looks like they're going to take it.
They're going to go for it. As Robinson got him close enough to go for it on a 4th and 1.
And the Knights look like they're bringing the dogs.
And the handoff up the middle, 1st down and more. Tariq Turner bursting, and he's going to go.
And once again, that's got to be frustrating to stop him, hold him to 4th down, look to stop him and get the ball back on downs, and instead they break a big play to get to the end zone.
And once Turner got behind the defenders, and mainly the front line and the linebackers, it was all she wrote there.
Yeah, after that it's just a foot race, and the man coming from the backfield has the momentum, of course, and it's almost impossible to catch at that point. So the Knights kind of gambled on that one, that they were just going for the 1st down. They weren't, ended up breaking the big play.
Well, this game has really gotten away from the Knights, and the final score may not be indicative of how competitive this game was for much of the contest. That's 20 straight points now for Montclair. They had jumped down on top 14-0. Knights got a big score, and to a certain degree the momentum was ready to shift in Southern Virginia's territory, and then that 60-yard touchdown pass right before halftime got the momentum back on the Montclair side of things, and the second half has really belonged to them. They have now got a couple scores in the second half, and the Knights are still looking for their first points of the second half.
Well, what's interesting to me is that I don't think the score, there's only been a few points in the game where the score has ever really been indicative of how it's gone. I think early on the Red Hawks were very much outperforming the Knights, so that early 14-0 lead did accurately reflect that, but then the Red Hawks still did so for most of the first quarter, but it stayed at 14, which is great. But then the Knights being so competitive after that, I think that was a little misleading. But now, again, stretching out where it is, it's been interesting to see that change in momentum and in performance, and how sometimes it's been rewarded with points for either squad and sometimes it hasn't.
Michael Fry and Harris, the deep return man. Looks like it's going to be the Knights returning this one. I believe that's Gregory actually on the return back to the 30-yard line. And we've got another flag down.
Well, we've had certainly our share of flags today, but not nearly as many as we had over in Guilford.
It's getting close.
I don't know. There were 300
I'm trying to remember.
penalty
It was
yards.
like 30 total penalties, maybe, was it?
Yeah, it was like 280-some penalty yards, I think, in that game. Almost 300. Yeah.
That's about the only problem Montclair has had today. They had the one turnover that led to the SVU touchdown, but yeah, their penalty yardage has been pretty big today. That penalty, though, will go against the Knights.
Yeah, holding against the Knights that time, which negates a little bit off of a big return. It's still pretty good all in all for them. And as they get ready to head on the field, I'm assuming Rex is in. You can see Mitch Stevenson on the sideline here with his helmet off.
No, I think they're going to go to Brian Phillips.
All right, well.
Brian Phillips, the freshman from Knoxville, went to very good high school, 5'9", 165, and he'll get his first taste of quarterback today. Going to fake the handoff to Workman and take it himself around the right side, and he ran his own blocker and then got knocked down by his own blocker back at the 16-yard line.
Well, he
took a mean shot to the head from that blocker.
Yeah,
that was Kenaveri, I believe, the tight end.
He didn't fumble it, though. I can remember an oft-reviewed play on ESPN last year of a quarterback wearing green and white who ran into the back of his own blocker and fumbled it. That, of course, being Mark Sanchez from the New York Jets.
Yep.
So not ideal, but held on to it. And, again, it's going to take him a little while to get situated as he comes in to this game.
Very quick, though. He's going to try to run to the right side again. Look for a little running room that time after losing 3 yards the first run. And this one, he gets a couple of yards back. Looks like he's close to around the 19 or 18-yard line. We'll see where they mark him down. Looks like it's going to be right at the 18, so it ends up being about a yard pickup.
Yeah, that's interesting. That looks like it was two intended quarterback keepers to the same side consecutively with a brand-new quarterback. Not something that you see too often.
35-8 is your score. Montclair by 27 here in the fourth quarter. Phillips stays in their quarterback. We'll see if he throws now on a 3rd and 11. And he's pressured. He fires, incomplete. And they actually had maybe 2, almost 3 receivers in the same area, about 5-6 yards apart.
Yeah, and I'm not sure whether that was a miscue throwing to the wrong guy or whether he got it looked like perhaps the issue was Kyler Harris either lost a step, whether it was because he got a shot from his defender or lost footing or something. Just that's one of those timing throws that he was just a step behind in.
And now the Knights are forced to punt the football away. This game was just 21-8 at halftime. It was 14-8 with about a minute to go until halftime. Here's the punt. Upfield, fair catch, called for, made.
Best kick of the day by the Knights. Yeah, you're right, though. It so looked like the momentum was starting to shift. The Knights got better and better as the first half went on. Their drives got longer. The drives from the Red Hawks got shorter. They started to clean up the turnovers a little bit, though those have been a persistent issue all day today.
And credit Montclair. If there was a play of the game, it probably had to be that 60-yard touchdown pass right before halftime, because without that, the Knights go into the locker room with a lot of momentum, a lot of crowd noise, and only down by 6.
Yep, very, very true. Definitely the play of the game.
49-yard line is where Damasi, the backup quarterback, will start this drive. Get off to Tariq Turner, and he scampers around the left side for 4 or 5 yards. You know, when you go from Turner after having the Evis, they don't lose a whole lot in that tailback position. Turner is looking pretty good, and, of course, he just had the touchdown run a few minutes ago.
Well, and I am not sure whether they've put in subs in their offensive line as well, but when you've got a solid offensive line, you can really you don't lose a lot of talent level at the running back position, or even if you do, they can do just about as well because you've got a line clearing a path for you.
And their quarterback, Damasi, is 6'5", 220, and he fires a pass completion over to Robinson, Yellow Shoes Robinson, making the catch. He's out of bounds at near the 38-yard line, almost 37.
And still able to drive the ball down the field. Despite running a few backups in there. But again, it's been that offensive line, as you mentioned, that has just given so much stability to this offense for the Red Hawks.
Well, except for that 160-yard touchdown pass, they haven't taken really that many shots downfield. They've really gone to that short passing game for the most part. Back to the ground game, though. Oh, what a hit. Big hit put on by the Knights on the ball carrier Turner.
Yeah, burying him that time. Again, the Knights.
Josh McMorris, I think, the linebacker.
I thought it was Jacob Heath. Could have been a couple of different guys, but lots of guys involved in that tackle. And the defense, you wouldn't think the defense has really played that well since they've got 35, since Montclair has 35 points. But considering, again, what is it, 6 turnovers now, and the short
I think it's 7. 6 interceptions and 1
right.
fumble.
You're right. And so considering all of that, I really take my hat off to the defense.
Yeah, the defense has actually played pretty well, Art, as you mentioned. They've had to stop Montclair numerous times. I think they're going to get their first sack, and they do. It is Englert.
Zach Englert has had such a monster of a game, getting a sack there. He's had a couple of really major hits
Good shoestring tackle, too, on the big quarterback, 6'5", 220-pound Damasi.
Yeah, that was calculated because you could tell he was going down and knew that if he reached out and got at that angle, he could give up his feet, which typically you don't want to do as a defender. You want to keep your feet, keep in pursuit, but he knew at that point he could stretch out and get that one, and great job by him to bring up third and very long.
Third and about 14 to go. And we'll see if Damasi, the quarterback, wants to throw on third down. And it looks like he is from the shotgun. And he fires over the middle. Pass is pulled in.
Oh,
complete.
Holding.
Yeah, we're going to have another penalty after the reception.
3 flags coming into the same place. That is clearly a hold on number 5 from Montclair State.
Aaron Williams, one of the receivers, trying to assist his other receiver who had made the catch.
Yeah, that one pretty obvious.
Aaron Williams, the junior wide receiver, will pick up the penalty flag. Waiting on the referees to sort this out.
Hearing a fan from the Red Hawks saying it's a bad call, I'm not sure how that could possibly be the case. It was happening right in front of us, and
especially when you're up 27 in the fourth quarter.
Practically ripped the jersey off, and for a man that doesn't have the ball, that's a penalty, I'm pretty sure.
Referees will try to decide now what the penalty is it's holding and exactly where they're going to place the ball after the penalty is assessed. Will still be a first down because of the reception made for enough for first down yardage. They'll mark it from the spot of the foul.
Yeah, so still a big play for Montclair, not as big as it would have been if not for the penalty.
Hey, looking ahead on the schedule now for the Knights. So next week, as we mentioned, they got the long road trip to Cortland, New York, playing at Cortland State next Saturday, October the 18th. And then 2 weeks from today, back here for another home game, Art, their second game at the Fields at SVU, as they'll be taking on Morrisville. And Morrisville is one of those teams thought to be maybe in the top tier of the New Jersey Athletic Conference. There's Tariq Turner, hit
Great
and buried.
Stop. Able to get into the backfield quickly there. The Knights defense.
Almost looked like Robbins hit him first, and then maybe 2 or 3 others were able to finish him off.
Yeah, and that was just that was a host of Knights coming in there and blowing that play up. But as you mentioned, yes, Morrisville, a very tough team. The Knights are going to have to realign after this this game. Again, not calling it a loss yet, but it's certainly heading in that direction. Even if they were to pull it out, a lot of things they would need to shore up.
Damasi throws and hits his receiver. He steps out of bounds after a short gain, only about 3 or 4 yards on that pickup. Then they go to Rowan, as we mentioned, on November the 1st. That's their final road game, and then 2 more home games to finish off the season. November 8th, College of New Jersey, and November the 15th, Senior Appreciation Day against William Patterson.
Well, I think that College of New Jersey is one to circle on the calendar. That's one the Knights feel like last year.
Defense really played great in that game last year.
Yeah, that one I think the Knights really thought was going to end differently last year and are looking for some to enforce that this year.
3rd and 8 coming up here for the Red Hawks as Damasi, the quarterback, wants to fire, and he fires over the head of a receiver, incomplete.
Yeah, skipped that one off the ground, very short of his receiver that time. That does stop the clock, though. Again, the Knights, with 8:25 left here, still breathing, particularly if the defense can step up like this. But the offense has really had a tough time getting things together, getting in sync.
And right now the Knights would obviously need 4 scores. Down by 27 points. And a 4th down play coming up, and looks like Montclair wants to talk it over to see, I guess, basically, do they want to kick a field goal from here? Or perhaps do they want to try for it on a 4th down, about 7 to go?
I'm not sure why you would really want to go for it at this point. Again, you're up 27 points. There's 8.5 minutes left in the game. And it's not really to me, the lead of 27 is one thing, but the other one is, it's one thing when you're up 27, 35-8. It's another when you're up 27 and the other team has scored a fair bit.
Right. Even if you've got your backups in and you want to get them so-called experience, I think you pretty much have a very safe lead right now.
Yeah, so I'm not sure why you would go for it at 4th and 8.
Even a field goal at this stage would be about a 41-yard attempt.
Yeah, so not sure why they want to talk it over, but they do, and so they've got the timeouts available. They'll do that, and
they're going to go for the field goal. It's going to be a 41-yarder.
Yeah, well, great opportunity for them as well. They haven't tested their field goal unit as much today, so good to get them some time out there as well.
All this coming with 8:25 to go in the football game. And here comes the field goal try by the Redhawks, and it's up, and it is no good. Wide again.
Yeah, wide right on that one.
Wide left earlier, I believe.
Mm-hmm. And it was certainly up. It had the distance on it, but just wide right.
Well, the Knights defense, I think for the most part, has played a pretty good ball game today. Just too many turnovers for Southern Virginia to overcome today.
Yeah, the turnovers have absolutely killed the Knights. I would be interested to see the stats on a game where a team overcame a turnover margin of, -6?
Player of the game, Eric Gargilio, at least, 4 interceptions by our count?
Yeah, he's probably got more receptions from our quarterback than any team from the Redhawks has from their own.
Knights will stay with Phillips, the quarterback. He hands the football off to Josh Leviste on a reverse, and he goes down for a loss of about 3 back to the 21-yard line.
Yeah, there's a man down, though. Looks like, slow to get up, number 15 for the Redhawks. Looks like he's all right.
Leviste on that reverse, losing about 3 back to the 21. This is the third quarterback, once again, the Knights have had today, and Brian Phillips, the freshman from Knoxville, Tennessee. Earlier, Rex Winslow, and, of course, Mitch Stevenson, who had his problems with interceptions today. Had the 1 touchdown pass, the only touchdown for Southern Virginia, the 20-yarder to Chris Harper.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying before. I'd love to see the stats on a game where a team was -7 on a turnover margin and still won. I'm not entirely sure that there has been one.
Phillips on that quarterback keeper, he really paid the price. Got hit by 3 or 4 Redhawks.
Yeah, he was. You could tell as he started splitting off to the left there, and it was kind of the naked bootleg as well. There were a lot of bodies coming his way. He started off his first step pretty quick and then just kind of tucked and decided to focus on holding on to the football rather than trying to gain yards on that.
So 3rd and 15. What will the Knights do here? Down by 27 points in the 4th quarter. Phillips wants to throw. He's got time, got good protection, fires upfield.
Got hit hard.
And he overthrows Killstrom.
Flag in the middle of the field out here.
Phillips
back in
able
the
to
secondary.
Bounce up after that hit, too. Tough little kid there.
Yeah.
Just a freshman once again.
Yeah, we'll see what that penalty is, but like I said, it's way back in the secondary, so it's and you can see the result. Number 7 on the Redhawks kind of shrugging a bit.
Slumped a little bit there.
It's going to go against the Redhawks. We'll see what it is.
Going to maybe possibly defensive holding?
Could be.
Maybe holding Killstrom as he was going upfield for the pass play. Yep, looks like it's going to be defensive holding on the Redhawks.
Indeed it is. And it's an automatic first down, which is even more important than the yards at this point.
So it's a first down Knights, 29-yard line. Well, right now, with just 6:42 to go, Art, you got to figure the Knights just want to take this ball downfield and get on the scoreboard again for a second time today, as it's going to be a quarterback draw for Phillips.
Boy, there have been a lot of designed run plays for Phillips today. That one, quite a good one for as far as gain. I think he picked up probably about 5 yards on it.
Got across the 30 up to the 32. Looks like they're going to give him about 3 yards to make it 2nd and 7. And we're down to 6:13 to go in the football game. 35-8 your score. Montclair on top. Phillips, the quarterback, will go shotgun with several receivers over to the left. He hands the football off instead, and Jerry Washington gets maybe his best gain of the contest and gets across the 40-yard line before he's belted out of bounds.
Well, and once again, the Knights able to put a little bit of a drive together. They've had a success at doing this only a few times today, so you like to see it, and certainly at least to approach the end of the game, as we mentioned before, keeping the Red Hawk offense off the fields.
That's probably Jerry Washington's best run of the contest, although the Knights really never got into a position where they tried to establish the running game today. They came out throwing, of course, back in the first quarter.
Well, and that's what's really surprising is they continued to throw over and over despite the impressive work on the secondary.
Phillips, the quarterback keeper, right side, but he can't get away from the defender and is hit for a 5-yard loss back at the 35-yard line.
Excuse me, keeping it on the ground though. Again, I'm still surprised at how many design runs there have been for Brian Phillips. I'm not sure if he's.
Well, you can see he's very quick. They're trying to get him out around the corner where he can do some damage, but those Red Hawk defenders, as we've seen all day long, are pretty quick too.
Yeah, and when you run it consecutively like that, they know that that's something that you're going to do. They really tend to keep an eye out as a defender. You look for that for the quarterback as well, mainly because you want to put a lick on him, and when he runs the ball, you get that option.
This time it's Jerry Washington trying to turn the corner, and he cannot get around the corner. He is knocked backwards by those Red Hawk defenders. Going to end up losing 2 or 3 yards, it looks like.
Yep, third down now, and a long way to go. Not sure I expect to see the Knights throw on this. Typically, obviously, third and very long is the throwing down.
Well, Art, despite the disappointing homecoming loss today, I know the Knights football players have to be excited about the future playing on this field, though.
Oh, absolutely. No team is unbeaten on their own turf indefinitely, so that it comes up as a loss is one thing, but it's still so much of a positive thing just to have that experience, to have some place to call home. And it will take a little bit of adjusting, I think, for the Knights to get used to that, to get used to playing up here and everything that comes along with that as well. So as it grows a team, this will be a memory, of course, of a loss, but it'll also be a memory of a momentous first playing on this field and everything that goes along with that.
Yeah, it's going to be the 5th loss of the season for the Knights. They're going to start the season 0-5, but then again, this is arguably maybe the toughest schedule in the young history of Southern Virginia football.
Very true, and coming off a very strong season last year, but great.
Phillips has the completion.
Yeah, great look up the side there. Credit where credit's due, finding, I believe that's Austin Hecking.
Yep, the freshman from New Paltz, New York, making the reception.
Yeah, but yes, coming off a great 8-2 season, but when you up the caliber of opponent and you add in all the other changes, not a major.
Well, first of all, you got all those New Jersey Athletic Conference teams, and we're only, again, halfway through the season, but you also had an extremely tough non-conference schedule with teams like Methodist, Guilford, and Wesley.
Very true, and that makes it very, very difficult. So it's one thing to try to repeat a very positive season, the best season you've had. It's another thing to try to do that against increasingly difficult competition.
4th and long, great punt, upfield.
Oh, yeah.
To the 20-yard line, and a return by Robinson for just a few yards. Good downfield coverage by the Knights, who, of course, also had a special teams touchdown last Saturday on the road to Kane.
Yeah, and Robinson has shown a propensity to break free. I think I was really impressed by the Knights that time to flock to him, to not give him any ability to cut loose and securing that one down. And you're right, between plays like this, between the special team score last week, again, I think the real bright spot for the Knights squad this year has been their special teams.
So down to 2:54 to go in the football game, and it's Montclair football at the 28-yard line of the Red Hawks. And we'll see if they go back to the ground game, just simply hoping to run the clock out on a 27-point victory right now for Montclair. And they will go to the ground game. And a good tackle made by the Knights to limit that play, as it was Zach Argyle, the inside linebacker, the freshman from Jerome, Idaho, making the play that time. Knights shutting that play for negative yardage. Probably a loss of a couple there. It'll again be the Knights playing on the road at Cortland State. That'll be next Saturday, October the 18th, 1 p.m., and then they're back here at home against Morrisville All home games starting at noon here at the Fields at Southern Virginia University. 2:15 to go, and another running play coming up here for the Red Hawks as, again, they just try to grind this clock out. The Red Hawks are going to go to 4-1 on the season. This will be their 4th straight victory. So the ball right now at the 32-yard line for the Red Hawks, and a 3rd down and 8 coming up for Montclair.
Well, and this one now pretty much in the books. Just a couple minutes left. It would do wonders for the Knights to still be able to have some positive things to look back on, especially late in this game. Good stops right now on 3rd down, and forcing a late punt would be one of those things they could look at positively.
Of course, they'd love to get another Montclair turnover. There's just been one Montclair turnover today. That led to the Southern Virginia touchdown, so Montclair has done a pretty good job holding on to the football for the most part.
True. And that pile up, and there's 2 flags coming in.
Everybody's grabbing at the football as well.
Yep, you can tell there's tempers flaring a bit, attitudes getting a little bit out of hand.
That's going to be interesting too. Like this season, maybe next season, next few seasons, Art, to see which teams in the conference really develop maybe the most heated rivalries between the Knights and some of these New Jersey Athletic Conference ball clubs.
Yeah, that's very true. And that's an unsportsmanlike conduct. Conduct on him?
Looked to be, yeah.
Interesting.
Was not offsetting. It was all against Montclair. So Montclair will punt the football away with just 1:16 to go.
Yeah, so I believe that was during the play, and so the Knights declining it and taking the result of the play being 4th down. I take it back. They're moving it on back.
Yeah, all the way back to the 22 or 23-yard line.
I was going to say, just trying to make sense of what I'm seeing on the field for a minute.
So now Robinson, who also is a wide receiver, will punt. And the Knights will have one more shot at it as the clock continues to tick here from the Fields at Southern Virginia University.
Yeah, 1 minute left to play. And we'll see if the Knights try to put a drive together or just take it as it is.
And the kick is a high one, but a short kick.
Wobbly, too, and then
takes a nice roll for SVU.
Yeah, stop dead there. Tough to do that as a punter. I'm not sure that was his intent, but so difficult to get it to kind of stop down where it drops.
Well, I know the Knights only have 46 seconds on the clock here, Art, but then again, they're right near midfield, so they've got a chance maybe if they want to take a few shots downfield.
Yeah, and that's what I expect them to do because they have such good field position is like you said, take a shot or two, see if you can get something going early. If you can, great, then go ahead and run with that. But if not, on 1st down or maybe 2nd, then go ahead and just down it and end the game.
They stay with Brian Phillips at quarterback from the 48-yard line. But Phillips throws over the middle, got his receiver complete at the 30-yard line. Big pass completion, about 22 yards as he hits Brian Lorenzen, the sophomore wide receiver from South Jordan, Utah, making the catch, and he was wide open.
Yeah, so that's exactly what we're talking about with taking the shot. Get one of those chances.
And they spiked the ball.
So they are going to try to prolong this drive a little bit. It would be great to put another score on the board, certainly. While it doesn't affect the outcome of the game, it does mean a lot as an offense and also as a team looking forward to next week.
They've got 31 yards to cover, 38 seconds left on the clock. Unless they can really find something across the middle like they did to Lorenzen, they might want to play towards the sidelines to really get as many plays out of these 38 seconds as possible.
Absolutely. They want to stretch it out and get their offense a chance to get together and hopefully put something on the board.
And Phillips wants to fire, looks downfield, has time, surveying the field, plenty of time to throw, and then he finally dumps it off, incomplete. Well, the offensive line gave him a lot of time to look for receivers.
Yeah, incomplete, but does stop the clock. And at that point, better to throw it there where either your man's going to get it or nobody's going to get it rather than risk another interception.
So 31 seconds. That one just took 7 seconds off the clock.
Be sure you join us, by the way, right after this. We're going to have the home volleyball contest of the day at 4 o'clock. We'll be broadcasting that as well.
Here's Phillips giving to Workman. Big hole. And Todd gets it down to the 15-yard line for about a 16-yard pickup. And now the Knights are 15 yards away with just 25 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, they got the first down on that one as well. So 4 more chances, or as many of those 4 as they can fit in 25.7 seconds. So they're not giving up on it at this point. They'd like to get another one in the barn. And we will see the Knights taking a timeout, talk it over, and mainly I don't think it's nearly as much to draw up a play as it is just to take a break and make the clock stop.
And from 15 yards away, we'll see exactly what the Knights come up with as far as the pass situation is concerned here, Art, whether they take a shot across the middle or maybe work the sidelines, because, again, with 25 seconds left, they might have time for 3, 4, maybe 5 more plays.
It's true. The other benefit, as I said, to the sideline is you can put it in a position where it's your man or nobody, and running as well. The Knights have fumbled once today, but not nearly the threat on fumbling as they have from interceptions. So, yeah, I certainly expect him to do one of the two. Certainly to stop the clock as well, you want to throw the ball if possible.
They've been trying to run Phillips, but Phillips, this freshman quarterback, looks like he can handle the ball as far as throwing it, too.
It's true. He's, unless we forget, I believe he's the only quarterback from Southern Virginia that they've had in that doesn't have an interception so far today. So maybe you
had to bring up that point, didn't you?
You know.
Phillips looking for a receiver. Fires across the middle.
Got him.
Touchdown.
Beautiful play that time. Phillips looking to the back of the end zone.
Hecking, the freshman.
Yeah, freshman finding a freshman. That bodes well for the future of the program, certainly, and they don't need 25 seconds. They'll do it in just 5.3.
So good pass, good catch, and good pass protection.
Absolutely, and a man wide open that time. Great job to get open in the back of the end zone. Just a wonderful, wonderful drawn-up play. And lest we get away with a good play without a flag, there's a flag.
35-14 your score now with just 20 seconds to go.
Personal foul, roughing the passer.
Goes against the Redhawks.
Well, probably not going to make a major impact at this point, but
I'll tell you one thing, the freshmen, the 2 freshmen, Brian Phillips and Hecking, the receiver, they're both going to remember that one.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the Knight fans will as well. You mentioned they're both freshmen. That's something that we can build on going forward, not just in the season, but with the program.
Extra point try coming up here. And the Knights go ahead and connect to make it 35-15 with just 20 seconds to go. And maybe that is something that can also build upon a little momentum heading into the next game coming up next Saturday on the road at Cortland.
Yeah, certainly. And it's good to know that you've got depth in the quarterback position as well. So besides the fact that you're adding points, besides the fact that you were able to put together a long drive there at the end of the game, but actually seeing your backup to the backup quarterback come in and perform well, that's a great thing for the Knights.
Interesting to see how the Knights perform again coming up next Saturday on the road at Cortland. They've got that long road trip, but Cortland, obviously a team that they're very beatable in the New Jersey Athletic Conference.
It's true. That's one of the Knights' best chances to get a win here moving forward. We'll see how they do against that, and certainly anything they can do at this point to get some momentum, to get some positive mentality will help look into that one.
Well, of course, we think about last week where they could have easily won that game at Kane, but they had the situation where they couldn't connect on the extra point in overtime and ended up losing that 1-point ball game. A tough loss to bounce back from. I'm sure they were ready to play today.
You had to bring that up, didn't you? See what I did there?
There you go.
Well, either way, the Knights certainly at this point not going to come out of this one with a win, but with a little bit of few good things to look at, especially as they approach now the end of the game.
One would guess this would be maybe an onside kick, but you never know. From the 50-yard line, nothing to lose.
Yeah, might as well try it. Exactly.
But they decide to kick deep.
Yeah,
and Robinson's going to grab it and run it back a little bit.
He's not one to he's not one to just down it either. He all day long has seemed to want to cut left, cut right, extend the play, and find ways to gain yards.
Well, as we mentioned, Montclair, Morrisville, Rowan, Kane, of course, got their conference victory last week against the Knights. These are the teams that really are being looked upon as maybe the top teams right now in the New Jersey Athletic Conference. And Knights will see Morrisville October the 25th, their next home game. And then, of course, their second next coming up road game, their last road game on November the 1st, they'll see Rowan.
And that one, the victory formation, they'll take a knee, and that will put this one in the books. Southern Virginia ultimately losing 15-35 to the Montclair State Redhawks. Some good things, as we mentioned, some rough things as well. Turnovers particularly just so difficult to overcome in this one, and ultimately just too much for the Knights to come back.
Yeah, Art, just impossible for the Knights to overcome all of those turnovers. And again, a majority of those turnovers led the Knights to really be forced into a tough defensive situation, because a lot of those turnovers were a situation where Montclair was set up in great field position after those turnovers. We had, I believe, all the turnovers except one were interceptions.
Yeah, and some of them coming at critical times. Many of them, as we've talked about earlier, coming in just really difficult field positions to where when they did happen, they just gave tremendous field position, less than 50 to go. To the Red Hawk offense, and the Red Hawks able to capitalize on that and get down and get the scores.
And if there was, again, a big turning point in the game, even though Montclair jumped on top 14-0, they had their one and only turnover. The Knights recovered it, got a 20-yard touchdown pass from Mitch Stevenson to Chris Harper, got a 2-point conversion, got the crowd into the game at 14-8, and then boom, a 60-yard touchdown pass right before halftime. Stunned everybody and sent Montclair into the locker room with a 13-point halftime lead. And that seemed to be, I don't know if there was one key play, not with that many turnovers, obviously, but if there was one play that really swung the momentum from Southern Virginia back into the favor of Montclair State, it had to be that 60-yard touchdown pass right before halftime, where the Knights were hoping to go into halftime only down by 6, and they end up going into halftime down 21-8, and then obviously in the second half being outscored 14-7.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because that struggle the big struggle is when you get a big play like that, you come in, you get your first score, you're so pumped, but what kills it is having that immediate response to come back in the other direction. Absolutely the play of game, absolutely what killed the momentum for the Knights and turned what could have been a very jacked up team into kind of getting them out of the emotional high that they were just in.
And Art, we'll see what happens, I guess, on the road at Cortland State. Next Saturday, 1 o'clock, about who the quarterback is. Mitch Stevenson started today, had his problems with interceptions, got replaced by Rex Winslow. Eventually, they went with Phillips, the freshman, who was able to get the second touchdown on the board for the Knights.
Yeah, we were mentioning at the very beginning of the season, Mitch Stevenson actually being back here on the roster was a little bit of a surprise. And so it does bring up some quarterback questions. Sometimes your guy just has a rough day, and maybe that's the result today. Maybe that's the conclusion. But certainly they were willing to take some other guys, give opportunities both to Winslow and Phillips. You're right. There's definitely the question of who will be the guy going forward.
But you got to credit Montclair. Again, they only had the one turnover compared to all those turnovers for the Knights. They also had a situation where they were able to protect their passer. They were able to establish their ground game with Turner and Nieves. So Montclair doing a lot of good things today for the Redhawks.
Yeah, that's true. And we're going to now break it down. We're going to send it over to Don Harsh, and he's got Coach Jason Walker with an interview, just his thoughts on the half. Don, what do you have for us?
Hey, I'm here with Coach Walker right now. Coach, tough loss, but talk about playing on this field for the first time. What was that like for the team, and what does that mean for the university?
It's a lot for the university, and it's a step forward in the right direction that these guys are trying to make and trying to push. And I know that our seniors are more than grateful. I mean, the words can't express it of what they wanted to be doing on this field and to be able to have a chance to play up here. And there's been a lot of work that's gone into it to make it happen, and a ton of people sacrificing and working hard to be able to make it work here in the last few months just to get everything organized. So we appreciate it. We're glad that we're up here, and we're looking forward to playing on here for 3 more times this year.
Great. Now, after this loss, how do you bounce back and just focus on next week and kind of put this loss behind you?
Well, that's the thing. The season's full of games, but really all you have to do is worry about one each week and put the others behind you. Learn from this, learn from the mistakes. We got to get rid of the turnovers, and there's way too many turnovers, and to be able to give us a chance. And then we got to come out at the beginning of the games. We haven't started fast yet, and no matter how much of a point of emphasis that we put on it, things that we're implementing in practice, it just seems like we're not being able to come out right away. And we got to find something that's going to work and get that turned around. So,
thanks, Coach. We appreciate that, and you have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Don. That's the wrap up now. We're going to get off our broadcast now, hopefully get to the volleyball game. We'll get that set up for you again. Your final score, the Southern Virginia Knights 15 and the Montclair State Redhawks 35. For Jim Bresnahan, Don Harsh, the rest of our broadcasting team, Art Furler here, thanks for joining us.